howling wind. Difficult to handicap. The ball is taken 5 yards deep by Van Williams, and he'll not bring it out, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Joe Ferguson leads the Bills offense onto the field. His super runner catcher Joe Cribbs in the backfield, along with Penn Stater Booker Moore. The wide receiver core depleted. Rookie Julius Dawkins from Pittsburgh starts with a veteran Frank Lewis as the wideouts. Mark Bramers, the tight end. The offensive line's gotten progressively better, with Jones one of the best tackles in the league, Richard, Grant Borchardt, and Justin Cross. So the Bills with number 12, Joe Ferguson, leading the offense, set to go 1st and 10 from their 20. Second back through is Joe Cribbs, and the Raiders, with the 3rd best defense in the National Football League, have given up very little yardage to the run this year. Defensively, the Raiders are big with Howie Long. They had Reggie Kinlaw and Lyle Alzado in the front 3. Linebackers especially outstanding. Hendricks, Millen, Nelson, and probably the best player, Rod Martin. The cornerbacks, Lester Hayes and Ted Watts, although we'll see the All-Pro Mike Haynes in uniform today. Mike Davis and Van McElroy are the safeties. There was a gain of just 2 yards on the first carry. Now Van Williams, a sprinter out of the backfield, comes in on 2nd and 8. Van Williams gets the ball and gets a block from Joey Cribbs, and Van Williams is ahead for a gain of about 6 yards out to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. The last 19 touchdowns the Buffalo Bills have scored have been by passes. They've not scored on the ground in many games. Have only 2 running touchdowns all year, Gene.
5-yard gain.
Well, they're going to have their hands full today because they're playing against a very, very good Raider defense. As you mentioned, they're 3rd overall, only giving up an average of 293 yards a game. And Ted Hendricks is having what might be his best year ever, which is amazing considering the fact that he's played for about 13 years.
Hendricks, number 83, the outside linebacker, the right portion of your screen there, up tight on the line of scrimmage. From the shotgun on 3rd and a long 2. Ferguson stands in, has to hurry, looks for a man, and a penalty marker goes down. There might be a hold in the Buffalo backfield.
I think it might be pass interference. I think Bramer, number 86, he had an awful lot of difficulty trying to get away from Mike Davis. You're right. They got him back there for offensive holding.
Buffalo, in the dubious achievement department, leads the league in penalties. That's their 97th of the season and just the 12th game. They got our pregame guest, Gene, Will Grant. Now the Raiders will take the down, so Buffalo has to punt. Greg Cater, number 7, into punt, not one of the long-distance punters, although he can hit it a long way on occasion. There is Greg Pruitt, the long-time returner, and he's good as he's ever been. A line drive that's held up somewhat in the wind. Pruitt will bring it back. Runs into his own guy, and then he's swept under at the 37-yard line. Mark Merrill, number 58, made the tackle on special teams for the Bills, and so the Raiders come out on offense. A 39-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Jim Plunkett, in his 13th year out of Stanford at quarterback, with the former Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen and Kenny King, his runners. Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell, super speed on the flanks for the Raiders, with Todd Christensen, the 2nd best catcher in football this year, with 59 receptions at tight end. Marcus Allen tries off tackle, and he is popped in hard. Chris Keating, an inside linebacker, 52, hit him. As we look at the Bills on defense, Ben Williams, a Pro Bowler, so is Fred Smerlas at nose guard, and Ken Johnson in the front 3. The linebackers, Sanford, Keating, Eugene Marv. He's very good. You haven't heard much about him, and Irvin Parker. The cornerbacks, 2 of the best, in Mario Clark and Charles Romes. A rookie, Michael Kennedy's the strong safety, and the veteran Steve Freeman has moved to free safety. Bills have had a lot of injuries in their secondary. Marcus Allen gained 2 yards. It's 2nd down and 8, Raiders from their 40. Right back to Marcus Allen. This time, the great cutback runner from Southern California moves with a burst of speed across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short yardage. The tackle on the play by Fred Smerlas.
Yeah, the Raiders have always been known for having a big, huge offensive line. There's a shot of the guy who's having a great year, Ted Hendricks. Look at not only sitting on his helmet, but on the football, too. He won't have to worry about keeping his cleats out of the turf today, all right? statement he made about how he's been able to survive so long.
Yep, he says he keeps his head on a swivel, his cleats out of the turf, and he stays away from pileups. See what the Raiders do now. 3rd down and 2. They go to Kenny King, and he makes a burst across the midfield and comes down to the 49-yard line of Buffalo, so the Raiders gather 1st down.
Well, Don, I was just talking about the offensive line of the Raiders, and their left tackle, number 79, Bruce Davis. Kenny King is coming to the left side. Bruce Davis is having a Super Bowl season, playing very well. And on that left side at guard is Charlie Hanna, who had to move from tackle to the guard position when Kurt Marsh got injured.
Tom Flores, you saw on the sideline, was a former Buffalo Bill player. He quarterbacked here for 2 seasons. Plunkett looking on 1st and 10. Down the middle, and Cliff Branch was wide open but couldn't make the connection. So Plunkett looks to catch the Bills in a run defense and had a wide open receiver, but it's going to be 2nd down and 10. Let's take a look again from the end zone.
Well, Cliff Branch is the fellow that the Raiders really want to go to because of his speed. He's so dangerous. He gets into the middle. You see what happened? He thought that the ball was going to be deflected. Number 52, the linebacker, was right in there. And he thought the ball was going to be deflected. It didn't, and it just came right through his hands. But you have to play out like a catcher plays a foul tip. Be ready for it all the time.
See what Plunkett does now. It's 2nd down and 10 with no score in the 1st quarter. He doesn't like to run. Got Branch. And Cliff Branch, quick as he ever was, and he's in his 12th year now from Colorado, has something to say to the defenders as he gains 14 yards, and the Raiders are starting to challenge now. They're down to the Buffalo 33-yard line.
Notice how Jim Plunkett is always looking downfield. You know, even when he starts to get in trouble, he always looks downfield for a receiver. Cliff Branch using his experience, getting in between the zones there, coming up with the reception. Charlie Romes, number 26, on the tackle.
Raiders have a lot of firepower. They're the highest scoring team in the American Conference, even though they fumbled the ball away 20 times. Doug Smirlis was about 4 snap counts early. We'll see if he was drawn off. Just came early, so it'll cost the Bills 5.
You know, when you're playing that nose tackle position, you get a little over anxious sometimes because everybody's trying to zero in on you. Fred Smirlis is one of the best in the league. He's a big, strong guy.
Encroachment, number 76, defense, 1st down.
Smirlis has been to the Pro Bowl 3 straight years. There's the head coach on the left, Kay Stevenson. His line coach, Don Lawrence. Stevenson's done a great job here. He moved up from an assistant's role and has really tied this team together. They have an excellent attitude, has displayed an ability to come back. On 1st down and 5, Marcus Allen runs the ball to the 25-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a 1st down. The Bills will be keying on the football because the Raiders have been coughing it up.
The Raiders have turned the football over an incredible number of times. As a matter of fact, on offense, they've lost. They've had 15 interceptions. They've lost 5 fumbles. You know, in that one lost area. Oh, the Raiders have lost 20 fumbles. I was looking at the Bills there. They're minus 39 in turnovers on offense alone.
Right now they have 2nd and 2. Frank Hawkins runs the ball, and he might have just gotten there. Yards coming tough as Eugene Marr, 54, is starting up. Frank Hawkins was a great runner, one of the NCAA all-time leaders at Nevada at Reno. Not tall, 5'9", but he's powerful at 210 pounds. He's really the closest thing they have to a fullback.
There's no love lost between these two teams at all.
Now we will check the measurement as the Raiders drive down the field with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the 1st quarter. There still is no score. Don Criqui with Gene Washington at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. First score of the day is in. The Steelers are rolling with a 9-2 record. Move out in front of Minnesota 7-0 on a Stout to Cunningham touchdown pass. Things mix up a little now. You see Eugene Marr.
You know, this rivalry goes back a long time, back to old War Memorial Stadium, AFL days.
23rd meeting over the years. The Raiders dominant over virtually every team in the NFL over the years, but not Buffalo. They split 22 games. Here's a loop pass over the middle to Marcus Allen. He's ahead for yet another Raider 1st down to the 11-yard line. So the Raiders, after getting a Buffalo punt for their first possession, displaying an excellent array of offense, coming down the field with the run and the pass, and now they have it 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 11.
Well, the Raiders know the Bills like to play zone defense even when they're backed up against their own end zone. So what they did is they allowed the linebackers to get back in their drops, and Marcus just delayed a little bit, came out underneath, plucked him, got him the football, and he picked up the first down.
Cincinnati starting to move up on a Ken Anderson pass. Goes in front, 7-0. It's 1st and 10 Raiders. The handoff to Marcus Allen, and he gets stuck at the 11. Bills linebackers fill Eugene Marr from Saginaw Valley in the second year. A big backer on the inside. The Bills have activated one of their best players who's not played at all in the regular season, Jim Haslett. He's been out with a back problem since the preseason, but he's in uniform today, although not starting. No gain on the run by Marcus Allen makes it 2nd down and 10 from the 11-yard line.
And the Bills bring in their designated pass defense. Number 93, Scott Burkus, has come in to try to put a little pressure on Plunkett. I'll tell you that the task for Buffalo here is to stop Cliff Branch, number 21. If he's not open, look for Marcus Allen. They love to throw him in the corner.
To the run to Marcus Allen, some open field, and he's inside the 5, and he almost went in. Knocked out inside perhaps the 1-yard line. Charles Romes, the corner back, got him. Allen was the 10th player selected in the draft after he won the Heisman Trophy. People wondered if he was fast enough. He is.
But, you know, Marcus plays with such confidence, and he did so well winning the Heisman Trophy out at USC. He came into the league. Of course, he had a lot of talent, but he has an air about him. You know, the same thing that O.J. had. He gets his other players around him to even feel more confident. And he gets along so well with the other guys. You know, he doesn't have a big head, so everyone really wants to put out that extra effort for Marcus.
Short of the goal line and short of the first down marker. So big down coming up now as the Raiders have the ball just outside the Buffalo 1. The great big guy there is Art Shell, smiling, one of the greatest tackles in the history of this league. I asked Art about the Raider attitude. They bring in so many supposed renegades and bad actors. He said guys come in here and they look around, check everybody else out and say, hey, I'm not so bad after all.
Fit right in.
Fit right in.
Lyle Elizondo, I think, is the best example.
Raiders have a number of people like their leading pass catcher, Todd Christensen, who was a number 2 draft choice of the Cowboys and was waived by Dallas. He came in as a running back, opposed the move of Coach Landry to put him at tight end. Off he went. Then he went with the Giants briefly, and the Raiders got him as a free agent. Now he's a Pro Bowl tight end for $100. 3rd and inches for a first down. 3rd and a yard and a half for a touchdown. The Raiders go on the board as Frank Hawkins rockets into the end zone. So the highest scoring offense in the American Conference, hitting on all 8 on their first possession with 7:50 to play in the first quarter. The Raiders, with a very diverse offense, take it in on the payoff end. It's Frank Hawkins.
Watch the block by Marcus Allen, number 32. He was the man that allowed Hawkins to score. Good block on number 21, Michael Kennedy. As you mentioned, Hawkins isn't very tall, but he's a strong guy, very solid, 210 pounds. When they get down close, they like to give him the football.
And the blocking you mentioned, Gene, of Marcus Allen, that was a bonus. They didn't realize what a great blocker he was because he never did in college. He ran it all the time. Chris Barr's extra point is up and through. And so the Raiders, a favorite coming in, although they've not had much success over the years in Buffalo, take a 7-0 lead on this. Frank Hawkins, touchdown run. We'll be back at Rich Stadium with the Raider kickoff after this.
Don't have that far to go for a touchdown.
Now the Raiders ready to kick off, and here's Chris Barr into the football with Van Williams and Rob Riddick back. And again, Barr's kickoff is too deep to return, and so the Bills take it out on a touchback to their 20. Bills need some big plays now. The Raiders showing an ability to move through this Buffalo defense, which grades out as only the 24th best in the National Football League. See the Raiders scoring drive. Perfect football. The Bills players, that they were telling us, Gene, felt they had maybe their best week of practice. They think they're ready for a good game.
Well, whenever you're able to get psyched up for an opponent, you know, you're going to, football is so physical that you need to really be up. They are, you know, just takes Ferguson a little bit to get going, and he's got a tremendous weapon in Joe Cribbs at running back, so they can hurt you a lot of ways.
Joe Cribbs gets the ball, and the Raiders don't give him a thing. Reggie Kinlaw, the middle guard from Oklahoma, fending off the block of Will Grant, making the head-on hit, and there was no gain on the play, so it's going to be 2nd down and 10. And Justin Cross, the right tackle for the Bills, is down, so while he's being attended to with 7:33 to play in the first quarter, there's There's a break in the action with the Raiders in front of Buffalo, 7-0. Back after this.
Cincinnati, the first Bengal drive. Ken Anderson, 16 yards to Dan Ross. His first touchdown catch. He's headed to the USFL next year. But first, they'll give the ball to Max Montoya, who will do the worst spike of the year. Go get him, Max. Back to Buffalo.
Thank you, Len, where the Raiders have gone out in front of their first drive with a 7-0 lead now over the Buffalo Bills. Bills have the ball, 2nd down and 10 at their 20 as Justin Cross, the right tackle, goes off with an injured leg. And Tom Lynch goes in the game to replace him. He'll be the 3rd man now at right tackle for the Bills. One of their best players, Joe Devlin, went out in the preseason with an ankle fracture. Lynn Dickey just threw to John Jefferson for 6 yards and a touchdown, and the Green Bay Packers lead Detroit 7-0. Tony Hunter, the Bills' top draft choice, is now in, down at the lower portion of your screen. He's running a long pattern. They're going to him, but there's too much on the ball. So the Bills now have 3rd down and 10 coming up. Ferguson has a history of, if he starts hot, he stays hot. This year, as unlike in the past, he's found games where he's had poor first half. He's come back and played great in the second half like he did last week against the Jets.
You talk about playing well when he's hot. In the Bills' seven wins, Ferguson has thrown 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And their 4 losses, 1 touchdown and 11 interceptions.
3rd and 10. They're going to go to the throw again as Ferguson set in the shotgun with 4 wide receivers deployed. There's the throw, and the tackle is made on Frank Lewis. A good defensive play by the Raiders. The knockdown made short of the sticks, and so there is no first down. Jim Davis coming in as an extra defensive back, number 45, makes the play on Frank Lewis.
Well, the Raiders are dropping into their zone defense, and you can see number 45, James Davis. He's the man who's responsible for that short area, and he picks up Frank Lewis before he's able to get that first down.
Bills setting out a punt again. First time the Raiders got the ball, they went 62 yards in 11 plays with Frank Hawkins on the payoff end to take a 7-0 lead. 6:26 to play in the first quarter.
Again, the Raiders are going to get the football in good field position.
Greg Pruitt is back. Knuckleball hit downfield. Takes a Buffalo hop. It's down inside the 45-yard line. The Raiders do indeed, Gene, get very good field position, as Cater did not hit the ball well, and the Raiders are beneficiaries of that. So they'll be back with Los Angeles on offense right after this. Greg Cater hits the punt here and then hopes to get a penalty.
I think he wants to join Screen Actors Guild. Watch this.
Knocked down by a heavy wind. Minnesota is now tied Pittsburgh at 7-all. As the Raiders leading 7-0. Now have the ball 1st and 10 inside their 45-yard line. Luckett wants to get a lot. Swings it out. Marcus Allen as the defense closes in. And Allen is out to the 48-yard line. A gain of about 4. Irvin Parker, one of the outside linebackers, knocked him down. Allen not only runs well, but he catches a lot of balls.
Coming into today's game, he had 47 for 412 yards. This play is designed that way. You saw Marcus look downfield to see where the linebacker was. When you have a back like this, you want to get him the football out in the flat and try to get him in a one-on-one situation. The Bills do the same thing with Cribbs. They both have excellent receivers. You get them out in that field one-on-one, and usually they're going to win.
The other player the Raiders go to a lot is the tight end Christensen. He hasn't had a ball thrown to him yet, but he will many times. Buffalo holding him at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 6, and dancing for a first down and more is Kenny King as he's down to the 35-yard line. So Kenny King of the Raiders gets some room and makes some more for himself and moves 15 yards upfield. And finally, he's knocked down at the Buffalo 35-yard line. Chris Keating, a linebacker, got him.
When you have Marcus Allen in the backfield, sometimes everyone else is forgotten. But Kenny King, number 33, has outstanding speed. He was a Pro Bowler in 1980. Look at him. He just burst through there. When he breaks free, no one's going to catch him from behind.
Justin Cross, the Bills tackler, went out, will not be back. Has an injured left ankle. 1st and 10 for the Raiders, who lead 7-0 in the first quarter. Marcus Allen to the 33-yard line. Lucius Sanford knocks him down. As again we look at the scoreboard, the 1 o'clock game's coming in with numbers, and here is Minnesota on the Dills touchdown pass to Sam McCullum, tying the Steelers 7-7 at Pittsburgh. St. Louis a leader over San Diego on a Neil Lomax to Pat Tilley touchdown pass. Cleveland on a Matt Barfield goal is in front of the favored New England Patriots 3-0 in the first quarter. They're playing at Foxborough. Cincinnati leads Houston now 7-3. Second down and 7 for the Raiders at the Bills 31. Second back is Marcus Allen. Fumble, free ball, Raiders have it. They got 3 more yards. So the Raiders, who are one of the fumblingest teams in football, cough it up and are beneficiaries when the big tackle Bruce Davis falls on the ball.
Well, Don, as you mentioned before, the Raiders come into today's game having fumbled the ball 20 times. This is their 21st time. You know, uncharacteristically of a good football team, the Raiders are minus 16. Now they're, coming into today's game, minus 16 in the turnover ratio. Usually a team who's playing well will always be in the plus column. You have to give a lot of credit to the Raiders defense because, they're enable them to stay on top when they have all of those turnovers on offense.
That is really rare for a winning team to be down in the turnover count. Now Frank Hawkins is held up at the line of scrimmage on 3rd down and a yard. He didn't get there. Had to get inside the 25-yard line and did not, so the Bills defense holds on 3rd down. Barr will be coming in probably to try a field goal with the wind at his back. First we'll see where the ball is spotted. It is going to be short of where the first down was, though, where the marker is. Fred Smirlis was on the tackle along with Eugene Marv.
Well, the Raiders are going to go for it.
Apparently they are. 3rd tight end comes in, Derek Jensen, number 31. Raiders are going to a power formation. Don Hasselbeck, another tight end, is in with Todd Christensen. 3 tight ends in the game. 4th down and inches from just short of the Bills' 25-yard line. They have to go only a foot to get another first down. Hawkins is ahead, and the Raiders have a first down to the 24-yard line. Eugene Marv and Ken Johnson on the tackle, but the Raiders get ahead for a first down.
Again, they go to their strength. They're going to run behind number 79, Bruce Davis, the left tackle. He opens the hole. Hawkins picks up the first down. I should mention, Don, on the right side, the right tackle, Henry Lawrence, is an outstanding blocker, but he's playing with a very sore arch, and he has been for the last couple of weeks. So when the Raiders need some tough yardage, they're probably going to favor Bruce Davis on the left side.
They did that time, went left, and now it is 1st and 10. Plunkett throws, and he has a wide-open receiver. Malcolm Barnwell is there to receive the ball. And while we have a moment, we're going to switch to Len Berman on NFL 83 in New York.
Thank you, Don Criqui. Pretty play. Bombs away for St. Louis. That's Neil Lomax. 71 yards to a wide-open Pat Tilley behind that poor San Diego pass defense. The Cardinals break on top of it, 7-0. Back to you, Don.
Thank you, Len. Cardinals starting to play some good football. They upset Seattle last week. That helped the Raiders a lot, enabled the Raiders with their victory over Denver to take a 2-game lead in the AFC West. Now the Raiders have it 2nd down and 2, and they go to the run. And Hawkins is very close to a first down at the Buffalo 14-yard line. Chris Keating, one of the inside linebackers, filling again. Might be close enough for the first down. Raiders have totally dominated time of possession. They've had the ball all game long. The first time they went 62 yards in 11 plays. Scored on a Frank Hawkins run from in close. Jim Plunkett's been at this a long time. He knows the emotional roller coaster of being a football hero. From the Heisman Trophy to the waiver wire, back to the MVP of the Super Bowl.
I call Jim the Phoenix. He just keeps rising from the ashes. We go way back.
You were roommates, weren't you?
We were roommates at Stanford. Plunkett's first game at Stanford, I've been a fan ever since then. He threw me 3 touchdowns. He keeps to reminding me. He says, I made you an All-American.
Well, he wanted to throw you some on the sidelines today when we were rehearsing. The Plunk, 35 years old, 13 years in the league. He was the #1 draft choice in '71 of the New England Patriots. Traded to the 49ers, who subsequently waived him onto the Raiders, and as they say, the rest is history as he took him to the Super Bowl championship in '80. The Raiders on 3rd and inches get ahead, but there is a penalty marker down in the Los Angeles backfield, and the preliminary signals against the Raiders. So it'll come back. Do you see much change in Plunkett as a player over the years? Has he still got the arm strength he had?
Jim Plunkett in college had probably the strongest arm I've ever seen.
motion. Number 32, offense, third down.
Well, Marcus got a little over anxious, got a head start. But in college, he could throw the football very easily 75 yards. Maybe he can't throw it 75 anymore, but his experience is so important now. He drops back, and I mentioned before, he's always looking for someone downfield and has a beautiful touch on the football. He knows when to lighten up, and he knows when to fire it in there.
The Raiders have that throw deep philosophy, as Stabler used to say, when things are going bad, throw deep. When they're going good, throw deep. The Raider philosophy to stretch the defense. Now another marker down, and we have people kicking at each other at the line of scrimmage again. And now we have people teeing off.
Chris Keating is fired up for number 52.
It is heating up early with 21 seconds to play now in the first quarter, and the Raiders in the lead 7-0. Last time the Raiders came to Buffalo in '80, they were a favorite over the Bills and were beaten much worse than the score indicated. They lost 24-7, but the Bills just knocked them from pillar to post all game long, and the Raiders remember that vividly.
The 30-second clock was not operating.
So the penalty's on the 30-second clock.
One official threw the flag, and I thought that was a little too fast. Watch 52. That's Chris Keating. He's a little overmatched, though, with Bruce Davis.
I think. It's not holding him back, though.
But you know, it's important. You play the Raiders. The Raiders are a very intimidating football team. I mean, they don't have those black jerseys on today. I mean, when you're out there, you play against the Raiders, they have a guy named Dr. Death. I mean, what are you supposed to think, right? They are an intimidating team, and it's important to let them know, hey, we're going to play too.
Right now, the Raiders are doing the playing as they're driving again late in the first quarter, leading 7-0. Plunkett hands off, and Marcus Allen with a change of pace move again moves ahead for a first down inside the Buffalo 15-yard line. The Raider offensive front has been too strong for the Buffalo defensive front three. The Raiders have been winning at the line of scrimmage, and they're moving the ball down close again.
Now, the Raider philosophy is that they can punish you with their offensive line. If they can just pound away, run at you, then they'll throw it over the top. They'll send Cliff Branch deep, hurt you that way. The other thing about running the ball like this is that they continue to eat up the clock. Time just keeps marching on.
Coach Flores, a long-standing Raider, played for the Raiders, has been with the team as assistant coach since '72 when he retired. Now in his 5th year as the head coach, and has already one Super Bowl ring up, coaching the team to the championship in '80.
Yeah, one of the things about the Raiders is the fact that they have so much continuity. You know, you mentioned that Tom Flores played for the Raiders, is now the head coach. But you know, Willie Brown, great defensive back, coaches the defensive backs now. You mentioned Art Shell, coaching the linemen. Lots of continuity, and the players that play for the Raiders, they see that. Very important.
11 seconds left, so the Raiders will run the clock out before they snap the ball. They've already taken the other end of the field. 11 seconds to play in the first quarter with the Raiders in the lead 7-0. You're mentioning, Gene, about the Raiders are aware that if they do play well for a long period of time, there's a place in the organization for a lot of them.
That's right, and it's very important, particularly in these days when there are lots of trades, players are going from one city to another. When guys get to the Raiders, they feel that if they contribute, that they're going to be well rewarded. And this game is so tough that means a lot. Lyle Alzado, I think he said it best. He said, you know, it's a two-way street. And he said, I did my job for the Raiders, and they've come through for me.
Now they're bringing him back down. So they're going to come back down and finish out the first quarter at this end of the field. Wasted trip. Jim Plunkett was saying before the game, he's starting to think now about playing in the Jim Brown League, the over 40 league.
He told me I was going to go in that league. But let's listen to the call.
Second clock is not operative. The field operating clock is correct.
We'll accept that. We don't know what the field operating clock says, but they're coming back down to finish out the first quarter at the end of the field they were at. The Raiders with the wind at their back, but they'll be going into a gusting wind here in western New York. The Giants in disarray this season are an early leader at Philadelphia over a not very good Eagle team. 3-0 in the first quarter. One highlight of the Giants season has been the field goal kicking of Ali Haji Sheikh, who kicked another one today. He's been great.
You know, getting back to Jim Brown talking about coming out of retirement, if Franco Harris breaks his record, I heard someone said that Jim said he'd come back and play if he could have Jim Otto as his center.
This is not really big league football, running back and up and down. And now they're going to run the first quarter out and go back down the other way. But we are going to play football very shortly. We'll be back with the Raiders in the lead, 7-0. For the start of the second quarter, Don Criqui with Gene Washington. You see the Raider domination in the numbers. 102 total yards to 16 for Buffalo. Plunkett on 1st and 10 all day long. Goes down to the sideline, and Malcolm Barnwell catches the ball inside the 10. He'll be very close to another Raider first down.
That was an outstanding catch by Malcolm Barnwell. Plunkett wanted to throw the ball to Cliff Branch, who was coming from the left side of the field all the way over. You can see him watching Branch in the middle. He's not open. Then Barnwell does a good job of positioning himself between the ball and the defensive back. And it's like in basketball, when you're going to get a rebound, get yourself in between the other guy and the ball. Very important. He caught the ball in his chest, so as soon as he was hit, he didn't turn it loose.
Malcolm Barnwell's from Virginia Union in his 3rd year. Very fast. And now the Raiders go to the run, and Marcus Allen heads toward the end zone and gets inside the 5-yard line and down to the 3. Chris Keating makes the tackle, but the Raiders challenging again with a 7-0 lead. They have another first down now. Are they going to be close enough to measure? The LA offense versus the Buffalo defense, you see an overmatch, but I think Kay Stevenson probably said it best, Gene. He said, they talk about our rushing defense and our passing defense. We're not worried about statistics. We're 7-4.
And tied for first place. You know, Buffalo has that kind of a defense that bends, but they don't break very often.
Last week, the Bills were down 14-0 to the Jets at Shea Stadium in New York, a team that had beaten the Bills 31-10 earlier. Buffalo came back to win free football. And Marcus Allen was not across the plane of the goal line before he coughed it up for a second time. But this time, it is the Bills who recover, and the Raider drive is stopped. Steve Freeman, number 22, the free safety. So the Raiders are down close, looking to take command, but a lost ball in the end zone, and the Bills stop the drive. And their offense comes out, and Coach Flores says, not again, our 22nd fumble of the year. Here it is.
Well, Marcus is coming behind some very good blocks, and you can see the ball is loose clearly before he gets down. I mentioned before the Buffalo defense bends, but they don't break very often. They didn't break here. We'll be back in just a moment.
Zone, so the Raider drive is stopped. Buffalo 1st and 10 from their 20. Second quarter, Raiders lead at 7-0. Ferguson wants to get a lot early, fires downfield, and it's a little too wide. Going for the ball was Julius Dawkins, who was an All-American as a junior at Pittsburgh and didn't go to the 12th round when he came out. The Bills think he has the potential to be a tremendous player.
You know, one of the reasons he was drafted so low is that in his senior year he had an injury in his foot. And when he came into the Bills training camp, they noticed that something was wrong. He wasn't running properly. And he didn't want to tell them, but he had a bone chip in his foot. They took it out. Now he's really starting to come on. He's a big guy, over 6 feet, about 195 pounds.
Second down and 10 for Buffalo to the run. Straight ahead. There's not much there against the Raiders. Van Williams carries the ball. The real knock on Julius Dawkins, to be perfectly honest, was that he had a bad attitude and was a big part of the Pittsburgh collapse in their pick to be national champions. He came in here, though, and they haven't seen any bad attitude, just a good football player. Mike Mosley on the left and Phil Villapiano, 2 injured Bills. Villapiano, a former then Oakland Raider. They both went down with knee injuries, although Mosley, a good young wide receiver from Texas A&M, could be back. The Bills go to the playoffs. It is now 3rd down and a long 5 for Buffalo. Ferguson stands in. They give him some time. He's got a man, and he's going to get knocked down way short of the first down as Joe Cribbs came out of the backfield. Raider defense playing as well as the offense. Buffalo unable to generate any consistency. And so the Bills will have to punt it back to the Raiders again. This time Cater will be working with the wind at his back.
It's tough to beat that nickel defense that the Raiders go into when they get you in an obvious passing situation. They take out a linebacker and they'll bring in a safety like Otis McKinney. Joe Cribbs can be very effective against linebackers, but he's got a much tougher time trying to operate against a skilled defensive back.
Greg Pruitt is back as a single receiver to return the punt for the Raiders. Cater standing at his 11-yard line. Penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. And here comes Pruitt. It's at the picket line right. Pruitt uses it and gets to the 38-yard line. But there were penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. So the clock is stopped with 11 minutes and 45 seconds to go first half.
54 on the kicking team. Penalty decline. First down.
Eugene Marv was in motion early, but the Raiders like the field position they got in the play, so they'll take the kick and they'll go on offense when we come back.
Struggles in the game you're watching, not so the Miami offense. Andre Franklin, 8 yards, takes it across, so the team that Buffalo's tied for first place, Miami's on top 7-0. Back to Buffalo.
Thank you, Len. Don Criqui with Gene Washington. Rich Stadium. We now have 11 minutes and 45 seconds to play in the first half. The Raiders have the ball at the 43-yard line, their own. They lead the game 7-0, and Jim Plunkett's at the controls. Takes the swing to Allen, goes the other way, and gets it to Kenny King. And Eugene Marv makes a big defensive play for the Bills. Wide open track. Had Kenny King been able to beat Eugene Marv?
You know, Don, Todd Christensen came into today's game the number 2 receiver in the league with 59 catches. Watch him on this play. It's an option play. It's a screen. Look at it. He's wide open. He's looking for the football, but Plunkett has the option. He's the screen first. If the screen's not there, then he can throw down the middle to his tight end.
It is second down and 9 with they have the ball spotted. 38-yard line of the Raiders. Plunk takes a look, finds Marcus Allen, and he's out to the 44-5-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. Ken Johnson, 91, made the knockdown. This telecast is presented by authority of the...
And he'll come back and make a big play, and so will everyone else.
That's the history of the Raiders. Right now they have a third down and about 3. Long ball. Malcolm Barnwell covered very well by Mario Clark. So the Bills defense holds and gets a standing salute from a good part of the 70,000 fans here in Buffalo. Raiders moved up and down the field their first 2 possessions. First time they went 62 yards to a touchdown. Next time they were right down on the goal line. But Marcus Allen fumbled into the end zone, so the drive was stopped. Now Ray Guy is in to punt for the first time. He'll be kicking into a wind that's getting stronger. The wind in late November starts to sweep on in from Canada. Rob Riddick back to return the punt for Buffalo.
Ray Guy is finally free of those back problems that bothered him for the last couple of seasons. Punting very well now.
End over end punt. It'll be returned. Riddick from the 20. Looks for blockers. Loses one man. There's a great special teams play by the Raiders. Barnes comes down and makes the play. 56 Jeff Barnes. And so the Bills go on offense, but the Raiders have the lead 7-0. Through 3 downs with a punt. Not very much offense as the Raiders lead the game 7-0 in the second quarter. First and 10 for the Bills from their 20. Ferguson with a strike. Out to the 27-yard line, a gain of 7. Joe Cribbs caught the ball, and Bob Nelson, an inside linebacker and a former Buffalo Bill, made the stop for the Raiders.
Well, it appears as though the Bills are not going to be successful running the ball, at least at this point against the Raiders. So what they're going to do is put it in the air. And Joe Cribbs, you can see what he did. He protected the ball. As soon as he caught the ball, saw the defender coming, Bob Nelson, number 51, he protected it and put it away. There's a Raider defense to the 3rd overall total defense, 5th against the rush, 7th against the pass.
Now the Bills with a second down and 2 play coming up. They try to run. Roosevelt leaks. A big back from Texas gets ahead, and the Bills have their first down of the day. Buffalo moving the ball out to the 32-yard line. Minutes to play in the first half. The Raiders went 62 yards on 11 plays the first time they had the ball after the Bills punted to them. And now some more scores coming in. Miami with the 7-0 lead over Baltimore. Andre Franklin with a touchdown run. St. Louis on an O'Donohue field goal has extended its lead over San Diego 10-0. The Chargers and the Raiders play twice more. Green Bay is the leader, 7-3 over Detroit. Raiders 4 games remaining after this one, all against teams under 500. On 1st and 10, there's nothing there for Roosevelt Leaks. And penalty markers are down at the line of scrimmage. Howie Long, number 75, emerging as one of the best defensive linemen in the league out of Villanova, was on the tackle.
Howie Long is Lyle's protege, but I think it's going to be offsides against Howie. He saw something. He moved down from his position where he was lined up, and you saw him just shoot through that gap. But he broke that plane a little too soon.
Offside. Number 75. Defense. First down.
Watch him slide down. Watch. He sees something. He's going to shoot between the gap. And he guessed right because he caught the running back for no gain at all, but a little too quick, Howie.
Best down in yardage now coming up that Ferguson's had this game. 1st and 5 to Joe Cribbs to the run. And the Raiders, again, don't give him a thing. Those big defensive linemen just shutting down the Buffalo running game. A ring from the Lone Star State. Worn by Mike Mosley. One of the fastest players in the NFL when his leg is well. Giants now out in front 10-0 over Philadelphia as Butch Woolfolk has scored an 11-yard touchdown run. Cincinnati has opened up a 17-3 lead over Houston. Jim Breach with a field goal. Anderson's thrown for 2 touchdowns. The Bears in a Matsui run lead Tampa Bay 7-0. 2nd down and 3. Joe Cribbs tries again. Raiders going after the football. I think the play was whistled dead. And it's going to be 3rd and short now while we have a moment. Back to NFL 83 in New York.
Don Criqui moments ago in Foxborough. Steve Grogan a pass. As he passes, he's nailed by Cousineau. Chip Banks, the other fine linebacker, steps in front, goes all the way 65 yards. That's an important game there with Cleveland on top, 10-0. Back to Buffalo.
Thank you, Len Berman, and that's a surprise, too. The Patriots, we've seen them, Gene. They're a good-looking football team. The Browns with a 10-0 early lead. 3rd down and less than 2 yards for Buffalo. First back through is Roosevelt Weeks. He's got it. Alzado tackled him, but the Bills go point to point with a straight line offense. Get the ball out to the 43-yard line.
You know, the Bills need to generate some momentum, and the best way to do that is to try to, get a few first downs. They need to get a little more confidence in their offensive unit. Their offense is sitting on the sideline, and they're watching the Raiders move up and down the field. They need to get that flow going, and that first down was really critical. And they gave it to the guy who they always do in short yardage, and that's Roosevelt Leaks.
Now 2 new wide receivers in the game, Byron Franklin and Julius Dawkins. A lot of speed. 1st and 10 Buffalo. Ferguson takes a look. He's got a lot of room to run. Open field inside the 45, and he uses the 12th man to bail out. Saved by the sideline. He has a Bills first down, a run of 17 yards. Ferguson, you see that left arm very heavily padded. He extended an elbow against the Jets.
Joe has very good speed for a quarterback, and I was talking to the Raiders defensive back coach Willie Brown last night, and he said one thing that Ferguson can do is hurt you when he runs the football. He's a good athlete. He gets outside, sees a defender, sees Lester Hayes coming, says, I'll get out of bounds, take my first down. Now they have that thing going. Now they're more confident down in the huddle. That's really important.
For the first time in the game, the Bills offense is moving the ball against the Raider defense. Raiders lead in the 2nd quarter, 7-0, 6:14 to play in the half. Again, Raider left early as Joe Cribbs tries upfield on a free play. Penalty markers down at both sides of the line. Now another penalty marker comes in from the secondary. Lester Hayes and Byron Franklin were pushing at each other.
Well, that's going to be a... Oh.
Just like they like it.
Well, Lyle Alzado, number 77, was the man who got it started, and that's going to be a personal foul against the Raiders.
Bills will take the big one, the personal foul.
It's called against Mike Davis, I think. There's number 48. That's Roosevelt Leaks, and he's blocking on the strong safety, Mike Davis. Oh, did you see that right cross? That's not enough.
Mike Davis delivering the forearm shiver to the head of Roosevelt Leaks. And
Defense, decline, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 36. Defense accepted, first down.
no less an authority than Dan Shula, the coach of the Dolphins, has always maintained that nothing turns a game like a goal line stand. Completely swings momentum, and in effect the Bills had a goal line stand when they stopped Marcus Allen, forcing him to fumble into their end zone when it looked like the Raiders were ready to go up 14-0. And it was after that in this drive that the Bills have started to move, as they have their best penetration of the Raider end, down to the 23 with a first down. 7-0 Los Angeles. Second quarter as Roosevelt Leaks gets one or two.
Well, there's a little more action going on. Matt Millen, the big inside linebacker for the Raiders, says, let me get in on something.
He's a good player, 55. Big Matt Millen from Penn State was out a couple of games. Other Raiders said we didn't realize just how good he was till he was out.
Those two guys in the middle, Bob Nelson and Matt Millen, both really big and strong. They can really shut it down in there. They're not the best pass coverers in the world, but against the run, they're awfully tough.
Right now, the Bills second down and 8 at the Raider 22-yard line.
They love to throw down here.
That's what they're going to do. Here comes Long, and they get Ferguson back outside the 30. Free ball, but it was after the play was whistled. Right now, Ferguson isn't getting up.
Howie Long just killed Tom Lynch. Tom Lynch, who normally plays guard, had to move into the right tackle position. You can see Ferguson down. Probably got the wind knocked out of him. Howie Long just flew in there, coming up with a big sack. We'll be back in just a moment.
And the Bills quarterback was not cold when he was just sacked by Howie Long of the Los Angeles Raiders, number 75, and here's the play.
It's going to come from the left side of your screen. Howie Long is beating number 61, Tom Lynch. Oh, and he gets sandwiched in between. That's Rod Martin, number 53. Martin and Howie Long meeting at the quarterback.
It's actually Rod Martin who got to him first, and as you point out, Gene, Howie Long on the other end. So Matt Kofler, a good young quarterback from San Diego State, will be called on in a moment. Kofler comes in to quarterback the team as Ferguson is attended to on the sidelines. A clean but hard hit by the Raiders on a sack knocks Joe Ferguson out for the moment. The ball at the 32-yard line of the Raiders. They lead the game, Los Angeles, 7-0. Matt Kofler hasn't had much playing time. He's got a great arm and a lot of ability, and he'll go from the shotgun. Tough to come in and start throwing, but he has to. His first one's a completion to Julius Dawkins, but very little gain. On a 3rd and 18 play, they got only about 3 yards. Otis McKinney, an extra defensive back, knocked him down. Ferguson's had a problem earlier in the season. He was knocked out of a game against the Jets.
Well, the Bills are going to go for the field goal attempt. Number 18, Joe Danello, is coming to the game. Very critical at this point for the Bills to get some points on the board. They can come away here with 3 points. Then psychologically they feel that they've accomplished something. They took the ball away from the Raiders and moved downfield. Now they really need to get some points.
Need them badly, trailing 7-0. Danello's 7 for 10 inside the 49-yard line. 47-yarder on the way. It's going to be long enough. It's good. So the Bills bring 70,000 to their feet. As Joe Danello hits a 47-yard field goal, and Buffalo's on the board, trailing the Raiders 7-3. Back with the Buffalo kickoff right after this. Taft.
Well, Howie Long, we're looking at the replay, forces him right up the middle, and you see 53, Rod McMillan comes in.
Back to live action now. Here's the kick return by Cleve Montgomery, a sprinter, and he's cut down as he crosses the 20-yard line and gets out to the 24. So the Raiders leading 7-3, going offense again. Mark Merrill again making the tackle on special teams for the Buffalo Bills with 3:55 to play. First half, the Raiders scored the first time they had possession today, went 62 yards in 11 plays with Frank Hawkins scoring from in close, and then they drove down on their next possession and looked like they were going in again, but Marcus Allen fumbled the ball into the Buffalo end zone. The Bills stopped that drive with a recovery, then came the other way and kicked a 47-yard field goal off the foot of Joe Danello. The Bills on the board for the first time. It's a 7-3 game. The Raiders come in as a slight favorite, but playing in the East with the wind kicking up, gives Buffalo a big advantage, particularly when Ferguson, he's probably as good a wind quarterback as there is. He can really gun it through the wind with that quick, tight spiral he throws. Going wide is Kenny King, and he gets stuffed. So the Bills quarterback went down, and the defense responds with some fiery football.
Number 21, the strong safety, Michael Kennedy, was the man who came up and forced the play. He's a player who loves a hit. Had a great game last week. 11 tackles alone.
Miami continues to lead Baltimore 10-0. St. Louis opening up a blowout of San Diego 24-0 now. The Cardinals over the Chargers. It's 2nd down and 12 for the Raiders. Plunkett looking deep. He's looking at Malcolm Barnwell. Now goes over the middle, and Christensen has his first catch. And it's good for a gain of about 9 yards as Joe Ferguson goes to the Bills locker room.
The Bills had a blitz on. As a matter of fact, they had a safety blitz. 21 Michael Kennedy was blitzing, but the Raiders provided Plunkett with the time, and they got the reception to Todd Christensen.
Been a lot of scoring around the league early today. At halftime, we'll be going to Len Berman and the crew at NFL 83, updating the action with the big plays. With right now, the Raiders have 2:45 to work with in the first half. It's 3rd down and 3. Plunkett looking deep. Malcolm Barnwell's out there, and a great breakup by Mario Clark. Clark was out with knee surgery, that arthroscopic surgery. He's come back now, and he had a spectacular game on his return against the Jets. Has made 2 big breakups today. And the Raiders have to punt, and the Bills will be working with 2.5 minutes in the wind at their back. Rob Riddick goes back.
Well, the Bills are certainly happy to have Mario Clark back in that backfield because Dave Kilson had to play for him, and they just worked him over for a couple of weeks. And Mario's very smart. You notice he came in, knocked the ball away with one hand, but just in case he missed it, he had his backhand on Barnwell just to make sure, and that's why Barnwell was complaining. He said he had his hand on me, but no foul.
Only if you get caught, and so it'll be a punt for Ray Guy, and the Raiders hits it from his 22, unloads into the ball, but into a wind. The penalty markers down as Riddick fumbles the ball, and the Raiders have the football. The Raiders come up with the ball. Tony Caldwell, number 57. Now we have to wait for the all-important ruling on the penalty. Did a Raider leave early? .224 to play in the first half.
Holding, receiving team, penalties declined, first down.
So the Raiders get a turnover now and have great field position.
Took his eye off the ball just a little too soon. Wanted to see where he was going to run. You have to watch it all the way into your hands. It's just like a receiver catching a pass. Watch the ball all the way into your hands. He looked away just too soon to see where the defenders were coming from.
Interesting second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is David Stern. Our director, Richard Klein, as we are down to 2:24 left to play in the first half. The Raiders with a 7-3 lead get a big break, but they've coughed the ball up into the Bills' end zone when they had it at the 1-yard line. Now the Raiders with plenty of time to take it in if they can with the ball. 1st and 10 at the Bills' 27-yard line. Buffalo quarterback Joe Ferguson's gone out. He was KO'd on a sack by the Raiders. Will not play again this half. Perhaps not for the rest of the game. We'll wait for more update on that. Handoff. Marcus Allen almost broke free. He gets away, and a penalty marker goes down. Big play by Smerlis, the middle guard, number 76, who tripped him up.
Holding against the Raiders.
Ten-yard mark off. The Raiders will be kicking into a wind if they go to the field goal. Their kicker's excellent.
Holding, number 50, offense, first down.
Dobie, the center.
Watching the lower right of your screen, number 50, there he is. Looks like a good takedown to me. He pinned Smerlis. 10 points.
That's tough to do. Smerlis was a championship wrestler at Boston College.
There's a blitz.
Marcus Allen pays the price as he gets down to the 30-yard line. And the game clock will wind down to 2 minutes. Plunkett and the Raiders have dominated on offense in the first half, but they have only a 7-3 lead. Now the 2-minute warning is given. So a free timeout for each team, and Plunkett goes to the sideline for some counsel, and we'll be back after this.
Orange Bowl, the Dolphins have struck again. Dan Marino operating against the Colts. He finds Mark Super Duper. There he goes, 85 yards for Duper. Waltzes in for the touchdown. It's 17-0 Miami. Back to Buffalo.
Thank you, Len. We have 2 minutes left to play at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. The Bills on offense now, or on defense, as Jim Plunkett sets in and looks on 2nd and 12 and goes to Cliff Branch. Down to the 22.
Well, the Bills are playing their conservative defense. Zone defense, a lot of teams in this situation will play man-to-man. But Bob Zeman, who's their defensive coordinator, who was responsible for that zone out in Denver, has put in the same thing here. Very conservative defense. Let's take a look. You can see the linebackers dropping back in the middle of your screen, covering those short zones, the 3 backs in the deep area. Plunkett throws underneath, picks up a nice little gain.
Brings up a third down and 7 as Plunkett takes a look, running for his life. Guns it. Incomplete inside the 10-yard line as Christensen was well covered. Michael Kennedy, that young, strong safety you're talking about, Gene, out of Toledo, a free agent, had the big 11-tackle game against the Jets, has been doing a big job holding Christensen down to 1 catch for not much yardage.
And that's some task. Todd Christensen is an outstanding route runner. You know, I think Todd's experience as a running back has helped him so much at the tight end position. You know, he makes catches out there like wide receivers do. Lots of maneuverability, good hands. But as you mentioned, Kennedy's doing a good job so far.
Christensen says, I don't look like a guy that's got any speed, but I got some funk in me. Here's Chris Bauer. He's hit 9 of his last 10 field goals, including the game winner against Denver last Sunday at the Coliseum. 41-yarder. He's not a long-range kicker, but he's awfully good in close like this. It's on the way. And it's good. So Bauer, with 10 of his last 11, extends the Raider lead to 10-3. The Bills' fumble of a punt proved to be costly. With Gene Washington back at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The Raiders have just scored on a Chris Bauer field goal, and he's ready to kick it off. Raiders lead the game 10-3. Van Williams and Rob Riddick are back for the Bills. Misfire. It's been 20 years here in Buffalo. 60 degrees, unseasonably warm. A squibber downfield on the 4th hop. Van Williams starts upfield and comes to the 28-yard line. So the young quarterback, Matt Kofler, is going to have 1:06 left to work down the field if he can with the wind at his back. Joe Ferguson, the Bills starter, went out. He was KO when the Raiders hit him hard, caught him in a sandwich. It was a clean one, though. Rod Martin from one side and Howie Long from the other.
You know, what may have happened to Ferguson is that sometimes when you get hit like that, if you get hit in the head, your memory goes. I remember in a game out in San Francisco, I got a knee in the head and went to the sideline, thought I was all right, came back in the game, and didn't realize until 2 quarters later that I'd played the entire game. And I was asking the other wide receiver what to do on each play. And I think that's what happened. His memory's a little shaky, so they decided to take him in.
That's a gamer, though, to do that. You're a real gamer. Mike Haynes is in the game, the newly acquired all-pro defensive back. They go to the run, and Joe Cribb starts upfield, trying to catch the Raiders looking straight pass, and the clock winds down to 58 seconds to play in the first half. NFL 83 coming up at halftime. The Bills now with 2nd down coming up. They have 3 timeouts coming, but has so far not called one. Down to 47 seconds. Fans are starting to boo because they wonder why they're not using the time better. Matt Kofler in the game at quarterback. Throwing from the shotgun. Downfield, he hits Julius Dawkins, and he's out of bounds at the 50 with 27 seconds left. Mike Davis knocked him out of bounds.
Well, Matt Kofler has taken a page out of the Joe Ferguson book. He throws a nice pass out to the flat. Dawkins catches it. Watch the hit. Ooh. That's Mike Davis. Mike hits awfully hard. Mike plays like a linebacker back there.
He's a sticker. Mike Davis, 36. The Oakland strong safety. The free safety is another hitter, 26 Van McElroy. 1st and 10 Buffalo at midfield. You saw the good arm of Matt Kofor on display there. Here's the big rush. Stands in, rips it. Almost picked off by the aforementioned Mike Davis. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Buffalo from the 50 with 23 seconds to play in the first half. The Raiders lead the game 10-3.
You know, Don, you mentioned that Mike Haynes, the all-pro cornerback from New England, now with the Raiders, checked into the game, number 22. And he's some outstanding player. Boy, when he learns all of the defensive systems and he's in there playing along with Lester Hayes, that will have to be the best tandem of defensive cornerbacks in all of football.
7 years in the league and 7 times to the Pro Bowl for Mike Haynes, one of the great ones. Coming up next, stay with us for the second half. In the West, the Raiders started the day with a 2-game advantage with just 5 to play over their closest pursuers. Seattle and Denver tied for second. Kofor with 22 seconds left, lofts one downfield. Julius Dawkins is there. It's intercepted by Davis. Superb play by Mike Davis, and Kofor heard the roar from flat on his back. Looked like a perfect strike as Dawkins was wide open, and Davis recovered to make a great play.
Well, Mike Davis set him up. He had Haynes taking them in the short area. The receiver, Dawkins, got by Haynes. He thought he was open. Kofor threw the ball out there, and Mike Davis just had it timed perfectly, stepped in front for the interception. But that's called experience. You know, he's going to throw a lot of those before it's over.
Kofor's only in his 2nd year and has very little playing time. Had virtually none at all last season and limited this year. And it's been when Joe Ferguson has gone out, like he did today with the possible concussion. He was KO'd in the first half. We'll see if he returns in the second half. He's gone to the locker room. Now the Raiders leading 10-3. They'll look to run the ball and the clock down to 14 seconds left. Kenny King gets some yards across the 40-yard line. That might be it in the first half. The Raiders going to the locker room with their winnings, a 10-3 advantage. Well, try one more play as they signal a timeout with 8 seconds left to play.
Well, in this situation, you can always take a shot at the old Big Ben pass. You never know what's going to happen. Even if they throw it down there and they get the ball intercepted, the Bills will be backed up against their own end zone. So they really don't have very much to lose by putting it up in the air deep. And you have guys that can really fly like the Raiders do. Barnwell and Branch and Muhammad. And, of course, Doki Williams. They may just take one shot at it.
He can still go a long way. Plunkett is really strong looking now. He's been on a heavy weight program and is ready to throw the long ball if they call for it. Coming up Thanksgiving Day on NBC Sports. NFL 83 kick Thanksgiving Day, the start of NBC Sports Week 83. It's a home run ball to Cliff Branch, and it's a little bit long. Allowed out. 2 seconds left to go, and the Raiders have time for one more play.
Well, if there was any question as to whether Mr. Plunkett could get it down there, I think that pass erased all of those doubts. Threw that one a long way.
Plunkett with some good numbers, although not a lot of yardage in the first half. 10 of 15 for 76 yards. Final play of the first half coming up. 2 seconds to play. The Raiders in the lead 10-3. Out to Marcus Allen. Eludes one tackler. Gets out of bounds, and the first half ends. So the Raiders, coming in as a favorite, hold to a halftime lead. The big play of the half, though, was by the Raider defense. It was clean and it was hard, and Joe Ferguson, the Bills quarterback, went down.
Last year.
Back deep are Greg Pruitt and Cleve Montgomery for the Los Angeles Raiders. Raiders have been a good road team this season. They've won 4 of 6 on the road. They'll be on the West Coast the rest of the way in the regular season. The Giants, the Cardinals, and the Chargers twice out there. Good kickoff with the win by Danilo. Pruitt can't bring it out, so it comes to the 20 on a touchback, and people start up again. The Raiders in the first half move the ball, as you see, to a touchdown, the only one of the game. The first time they had possession, moving 11 plays, 62 yards. Next time they went right down to the Buffalo goal line. You'll remember that fumble by Marcus Allen into the end zone ended the drive when Steve Freeman recovered for Buffalo. Then the Bills defense got tighter, stopped the Raiders on consecutive drives, and Ray Guy had a punt. Then just before the half, the Raiders recovered a fumbled punt by the Bills and kicked a field goal to take the 10-3 lead. Jim Plunkett's a quarterback. Kenny King and Marcus Allen are his runners. Marcus ahead for 5 yards to the 25-yard line. Like all the great tailbacks, the more he gets it, the more he likes it.
Oh, he loves it because, you know, he figures eventually he's going to break one. He's just looking for that right moment. And, of course, his offensive linemen know the same thing. I guess that's Ferguson coming back on the field, although our reports indicate that he's not going to play anymore today. When he was hit by Rod Martin on that blitz, he took one on the head, and I'm sure he probably has a slight concussion.
2nd and 5. This time they stopped Marcus Allen, a gain of 3 yards. He broke ahead for some yardage when it appeared he was going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. And the ball's out to the 28-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2. Ben Williams, number 77, a Pro Bowl defensive end last season from Mississippi. Grabs Marcus Allen, knocks him down. It's 3rd and short yardage for the Raiders. I don't know if anybody's told Ferguson, Gene, that he's not going to play again. He put his hat on. He looks like he's ready.
Well, it's a little warmer when you have the helmet on, Don.
3rd down and 2, Raiders. They lead 10-3 early in the 3rd quarter. King goes wide, and great play by Kenny King. Darts outside, and he has a Raider 1st down out to the 40-yard line.
And he got a great block from Marcus Allen. Marcus went in motion. Kenny King jumped to the outside, and Marcus... Watch Marcus Allen on the top part of your screen. You might be able to see it. The block... Well, we didn't see it on that play, but Marcus was the one who enabled King to get outside and pick up that nice gain.
Marcus Allen, a versatile player, was a all-Southern California quarterback coming out of high school and was originally recruited as a defensive back by Southern California. Home run ball. Branch can't quite get to it. Cliff Branch with that boom speed just hit the 2nd gear and ran away from the defender, and Plunkett was just a little long. It's tough to overthrow Branch. And into a wind, Plunkett's throwing.
What happened on that play is that Charles Romes, number 26, bumped Branch a little bit. If they hadn't collided, I think Branch would have run under that one for the reception. The official didn't call pass interference because he felt that the contact was incidental. But that's what happened. There was a beautiful throw, and Branch could have gotten there had not Romes bumped him.
Well, no doubt we'll see it again as Romes, 26 at one corner, Mario Clark is the other. The safeties are Freeman and Kennedy. Raiders have the ball at their Marcus Allen. Roman gets ahead to the 43-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7. St. Louis and San Diego at the half, and the Chargers have come a cropper on this Sunday, losing 37-7.
Saw Roy Green last night. He scored 4 touchdowns. Detroit trailing at the half. Green Bay leading 20-3.
Green Bay, as there you are, 20-3 leader over Detroit, leading Green Bay. Green Bay leading Detroit, excuse me. We're going to get our cards right here. We're going to be great. 3rd down and 7. Jim Plunkett takes a look, dumps it over the middle. A lot of woofing going on out there, a lot of talking. Penalty marker down way back deep in the Bills secondary.
The game before the ball was snapped.
They don't tell me they're putting scores on my game in the coach.
Raiders go back into their huddle. The ball will be spotted at the 38-yard line.
Play of the game. Offense. No play. Still 3rd down.
So Tom Flores and the Raiders now look at a long ball down coming up. It'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Raiders at their 38-yard line. They lead the game 10-3. We have 12:41 to play in the 3rd quarter. 2 wide receivers go left. Plunkett Branch is open, but the ball is tipped. Cliff Branch got open, and Jim Plunkett on the run found him, and then Chris Williams from LSU comes in to break it up as the extra DB.
Well, Todd Christensen was a man Plunkett wanted to go to, but the Bills held him up very well. Watch Cliff Branch, number 21, trying to get to the inside. Ball comes. Oop, tipped away. You know, that's a sign of a veteran receiver. When that ball was tipped away, he had no chance. What was the first thing Branch
Field goal to open up the 10-3. Down from scrimmage in the second half. Hofer looking to go long. He does. Going for the ball is Byron Franklin, and Lester Hayes intercepts. He's not done. Lester Hayes inside the 40, and penalty markers go down at the Bills' 47-yard line. So a second Raider interception. Lester Hayes, a Pro Bowl player. Matt Kofler learning hard here today.
He just enrolled in the School of Hard Knocks. That penalty is going to be against Ted Hendricks. He clipped one of the Bills on the return, but Lester Hayes had the receiver covered all the way. Watch. It looks like Lester's the intended receiver. Look, he's just waiting.
Personal foul.
And you're going to see Ted Hendricks, number 83.
Number 83 on the run back.
The right side of your screen, coming up right there. There he is, right in the back. That's the penalty. Lester with his second interception of the year.
The Raiders say, Gene, as you know, that he'd be a great wide receiver. He has tremendous hands. And Hayes picks it off, and so the Bills are stopped on their first possession. The Raiders have it for a second time in the third quarter, and here's Plunkett looking deep again. Over the middle, he's got Christensen. It's a first down, Raiders east of the 47-yard line of Buffalo. Todd Christensen, the tight end, who will eclipse the single-season receiving record of a tight end for the Raiders. Casper caught 62 back in '77. Christian has, what, 61 already?
Yeah, Todd has to be careful that he doesn't get too upset by the fact that he feels he's being held, because if he loses his concentration on what he's trying to accomplish on the offensive side, he's not going to get open. He has to forget about what the defense is doing to him.
Bill's trying to hold him at the line of scrimmage. Here's a timing throw, and Cliff Branch has the ball as the Raiders execute beautifully and take it down to the Buffalo 26-yard line. Perfect timing pattern. Jim Plunkett to Cliff Branch, the flyer from Colorado. It was a Texas schoolboy sprint champion out of Houston.
Plunkett makes a nice throw. He doesn't get the ball too high. That enables Branch to get the ball before number 22. That's Steve Freeman. It's very important when you're out there and you're waiting for that ball to come down and you see that safety coming over, you're saying, get here, because you know the guy's just going to level you.
Right now, it's 1st and 10 Raiders. They go to Marcus Allen, and he's down inside the 25-yard line, down to the 22. The 2nd down and 8 from there. Dave Dalby, the offensive center for the Raiders, is a hard hitter, and here he is in action.
And he's playing against one of the best nose tackles in all of football, number 76, Fred Smerlas. Did you see Smerlas sort of move to the left and all of a sudden come back right? That's called putting one hand out and bringing the defender with you.
It worked, no foul, and the Raiders now have the ball. 2nd down and about 7. They're inside the Bills' 25. Marcus Allen gets a lane, and Freeman saves a big game coming up from the free safety to hit him down at about the 21. Looked like Marcus Allen might turn the corner and take it in.
You were absolutely right. He saved a touchdown on that play. The Bills linebackers were coming up on the blitz. You can see, so once he breaks through there, Freeman is really the only guy that can save the touchdown. Marcus nearly got outside. Cliff Branch was out there leading the cheers. As we watch them measure, let's take a look in the first half. The number of times that the Raiders on first down gained 4 or more yards. They had 15 attempts, and on 8 times they were successful in gaining 4 or more. The Bills, 8 attempts, only 3 times were they successful. Now, you know what this means, Don, is that on first down, if you gain 4 yards or more, you continue to put a tremendous amount of pressure on the defense. If you're 2nd and 6 or less, Now the defense, they don't know whether you're going to run or pass. It's completely your option. You keep them guessing. That's the importance of that statistic.
Right now, the Raiders have a first down and 10, and they go to the run, and Kenny King, working hard, gets it inside the 15-yard line down to about the 12. So the Raiders mounting a challenge here in the third quarter with 9:58 to play in the quarter. Raiders leading as they did at the half, 10-3.
The Raiders would love to throw in this situation. When you get down around a 15-yard line, it's a great place to throw the ball, but most teams play man-to-man defense. And the problem is when you're down here against the Bills, they tend to play a lot of zones. So if you're going to throw, you're going to have to get it in between the seams or underneath.
Two wide receivers come right. Malcolm, Barnwell, and Branch, they go to the run, and Greg Pruitt takes it up the middle, and he's down inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. It's a Raider first down. They'll be first and goal from the Buffalo 4.
Yeah, it's nice to have a guy like Greg Pruitt, who's an all-pro in his own right, many years at Cleveland, who can come in off the bench and give you that quick burst. He only had 97 yards rushing in the entire season. 16 attempts coming into today's game. Now Marcus is checked back in.
Marcus Allen in the backfield with Kenny King. First and goal, Raiders at the Buffalo 4. You'll recall the last time they had a chance like this, they lost it on a fumble. Here's Marcus Allen. Not this time. Marcus Allen takes it in for a Raider touchdown. Both arms on the ball, and Marcus Allen's on the payoff end, and the Raiders now open up a 16-3 lead.
Well, in the first quarter, the Raiders ran left behind Bruce Davis and Charlie Hanna. Now they're going to the right. Number 70, Henry Lawrence, a man with a big block. Kenny King, number 33, he ran through, no one for him to block. He says, hey, I'll just get in and help Marcus celebrate.
Right side of the Raider line. Lawrence and Marvin in the center. Dalby just powering out. Now Barr to try the point after, and the Raiders will have command of the game if he hits it. It's on the way, and the Raiders extend their lead to 17-3 as we'll watch Marcus Allen take it into the end zone for the Raiders' second touchdown of the day.
The Raider offensive line continues to dominate the Bills. They're having it their way. We'll be back in a moment.
There's something special happening.
And now, after the Raiders go in for a touchdown, their second of the day, to open up a 17-3 lead, Los Angeles will kick it off. Chris Barr kicks it downfield, or is ready to Van Williams and Rob Riddick. You see the Raider drive. 2 touchdowns today, both on 62-yard drives, the first 11 plays. This one on 7, and now the wind kicks up, and Chris Barr loses the football off the tee. Flag is straight out. Get mean here, and winter starts to set in, although the temperature is an unseasonably mild 63 degrees.
You can see it blows over for a third time. They're going to have someone come over and hold it.
Clay Montgomery says, I'll do that. He comes over. Kick coverage. Hate to lose a guy downfield, though, on the dead run.
Well, this is going to be a real factor for Buffalo. They're behind, and they need to put the football in the air. When the wind's blowing like this, makes it very treacherous throwing it.
A spinner downfield, and Dan Williams comes up with the ball. Turns the corner to the 10, to the 15, and gets out across the 20. Very nearly a misconnection downfield when the ball came spinning down. Halftime score. Green Bay Packers lead the Detroit Lions 20-10 at the half. Now the game moves into the third quarter. And now a very big surprise at Foxborough as Cleveland, an underdog, goes in and is pounding the Patriots 23-0. That game now in the third quarter at Foxborough. 8:15 to play in it. We have 8:42 to go here at Buffalo, where the Bills trail the Los Angeles Raiders 17-3. Kofor at quarterback. Can't make a living running the ball at the Raider defense. The Bills, as we pointed out earlier, have had virtually no success running the ball consistently. When they've moved the ball, it's been with the pass. Their last 19 touchdowns of this season have all been scored on throws by Ferguson.
2-yard gain.
The Raiders will have great control of what will happen down the stretch as they come into the day with a 2-game lead over Denver and Seattle, and the Raiders to be on the West Coast for the rest of the regular season against all teams that are under 500. The Giants, the Cardinals, and the Chargers twice, although they're very concerned about playing San Diego anytime. Van Williams runs hard and the Raiders stick hard. Rod Martin, the outside linebacker from Southern California, comes up, makes the hit. Short gain on the play.
But he got some help from number 77. There he is, Lyle Alzado. Watch how he fights up the block from Ken Jones, strings it out, and watch the effort here. Jumps over, gets in on the tackle.
Tremendous play. Great matchup. Alzado against one of the best tackles in the league, and Ken Jones. Now the Bills are faced with long yardage. Every time Kofor's tried to throw the long ball, you'll remember he's been intercepted twice since coming in for Ferguson. 3rd and 8. No chance for the long ball when the Raiders come pouring through, and Lyle Alzado is there for the sack.
You know, Lyle has said before that he was so upset when he was traded to the Raiders for a number 8th round draft choice that he just had to prove to everyone that he could still play. And look what he does to Ken Jones. He just simply backs him up, bats him out of the way with one hand, and sacks the quarterback. That's a tremendous effort.
He didn't go around the offensive tackle. He went right through him. And so the Bills are forced to punt, and the Raiders will have very good field position. Greg Pruitt's positioned at his 45-yard line to return. Cater hits a good one. Backs Pruitt up to his 36. And he runs it back to the 50, and then a penalty marker comes in. Darryl Talley, rookie from West Virginia, came downfield to make the tackle on Greg Pruitt. A 50-yard punt, but a return of 15 yards. Now we'll see if there'll be a mark-off against the Raiders for a foul on the blocking on the return. There's a hold call. 6:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo's going to get back in this, Gene. They're going to have to get their young quarterback hitting his receivers. Not going to run it.
Number 54 on the return. 1st down.
Darrell Bird, a young linebacker, called for the hold, so the Raiders are positioned back at their 35-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from there when we come back.
Who makes the best-built American cars?
New York, the Raiders in white. With the ball, 1st and 10 at their 34-yard line, and they have the lead 17-3, 3rd quarter. Jim Plunkett at quarterback. Over the middle, he's got Christensen, the tight end, and he has another Raider 1st down as he's out to the 46-yard line, a gain of 11 yards on the play. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
KRON-TV, Channel 4, San Francisco.
Well, there's any question, Gene, that the Miami Dolphins are going to have their share of 1st place intact in the AFC East at day's end. They lead 31-0 over Baltimore now at the Orange Bowl in Miami. It's in the 3rd quarter. Raiders with the 17-3 advantage over the Bills here. 1st and 10, Los Angeles. Marcus Allen. He's ahead for 9 as the Raider offensive blocking continues to overpower the Bill defenders, and Marcus Allen's ahead for a gain of almost 9 yards.
Well, that offensive line is the key. If you look at the score there, Miami in the 3rd quarter over Baltimore, 31-0. Minnesota, 3rd quarter leading Pittsburgh, 14-7.
Steelers led
That's
that
a
game.
surprise.
It is. Steelers led it 7-0.
8-yard gain.
Plunkett and the Raiders with a nice down now. 2nd and just over a yard. He might go long. I think Patterson throws to Frank Hawkins. And Hawkins has the 1st down, and he's inside the Buffalo 40-yard line down to the 37. Chris Keating made the tackle. We'll watch from the end zone as the Raiders execute again.
Well, the Raiders like to throw the ball downfield, but they know that Buffalo likes to play zone defense, so therefore they're going to be content to throw the ball underneath, make those linebackers come up a little bit so they can have some room to throw downfield. There's Lester, the molester Hayes, sitting on the sideline. Big interception today, number 2 for the season.
Right now, the Raiders are moving. 1st and 10 for Los Angeles. Greg Pruitt runs it down to the 35-yard line, working hard to get 2 or 3. Right at the Bills' defense. Buffalo with Ben Williams, Fred Smerlas, and Ken Johnson across the defensive front. Linebackers are Lucius Sanford, Chris Keating, Eugene Marv, and Irvin Parker.
Number 91, Ken Johnson, who's playing for an injured Sherman White, has just come out of the game. And that's an area where the Bills are hurting. Number 93, Scott Burkus, has gone in to replace Johnson. But neither one of those fellas provides the impetus that Sherman White does when he's playing.
Really hurt to have White out with the knee, and he'll be back, though, they hope, next week when the Bills play the Rams at Anaheim. Pruitt on second down and 6, runs hard to the 31. Not done yet. See if the play was whistled dead. Apparently it was not. It's clean. Greg Pruitt got out of a net. Got out of jail.
I'll tell you, that was normally in those situations, you know, there would have been a whistle blown. But I guess Greg was alert enough. He didn't hear a whistle. He just kept fighting. Let's watch. There's a big pileup in here. It seems as though the action stopped. He keeps churning now. Normally you'd think the whistle would be blowing, but he comes right out of the pile. Picks up another 10 yards. That's alert football.
First and 10, they go to Marcus Allen. Free ball, the Bills have it. So Marcus Allen with his second fumble of the day. Lucius Sanford, 57 from Georgia Tech, comes up with a free ball. That was a fumble caused by Rock'em Sock'em football. They're not going to hold on when they're hit like that.
These two teams have been at each other all game long. Lucius Sanford is the man who knocks it away, I suppose. Marcus Allen with his third fumble of the game. Got one back. Lost 2. Lucius Sanford picks it up, but it was someone in the middle who caused that fumble.
Don Quickie with Gene Washington. The Bills recovering a Marcus Allen fumble for a second time. He's coughed it up 3 times in the game, and now the Bills go on offense. Roosevelt leaks, looks for some room, and there's very little there. As on a first down carry, Roosevelt leaks, gets barreled to the line of scrimmage, and then head for maybe a yard more. Van McElroy, the free safety for the Raiders, tackled him. You see the Raider dominance in total yardage. More than tripling the Bills' output here through almost the entirety of the third quarter. We have 2 minutes and 55 seconds to play in the quarter. Raiders are leading the game 17-3. They were up 10-3 at halftime.
Koffler's going to have to put the football in the air. He's not going to beat the Raiders running it.
And up in the air it's going to go. Looking downfield, he throws, and it's a reception. Byron Franklin has it, and the Raiders knock him 5 yards back towards his quarterback.
Well, Byron Franklin, playing for the injured Frank Lewis, comes up with a nice reception. I think Lester Hayes thought he was going to drop the ball. He just sort of swats at it. Watch on the right side of your screen. He's going to throw the ball to Byron Franklin out here. Watch what Lester does. Well, he just sort of swatted it in there, tried to knock it away. Franklin came up with a catch.
So the Bills now have 3rd down and 3 coming up. Raiders with Mike Haynes in the game. He's covering on the right side, right up tight on the wide receiver there. Hofer takes a look. Here comes Alzado. A loop pass downfield. It's not near anybody. Franklin was running a fly, and Hofer was throwing an out pattern. It's
and there's a
empty
penalty
down.
flag down on the far side, over in the area where Lester Haynes was guarding against Byron Franklin.
Be a hold. Defensive penalty, automatic first down for the Bills. So they get a break. They would have had to punt the ball. The pass was not close to a completion, but the defensive hold on the Raiders gives the Bills 5 yards and an automatic first down.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 37. Defense. Automatic first down.
Well, they got Lester. He was guilty of holding Byron Franklin.
Just got word, Gene, that Walter Payton has passed O.J. Simpson on the all-time rushing list. He's now 3rd all-time, behind Jim Brown and Franco Harris. 1st and 10 Bills. Dawkins, 89 in motion, and here is Koffler. A lot of room to run, heading for the sideline. First down, Buffalo. Millen is hurt for the Raiders. He's limping off. He's walking it off. He's going to stay in. Here's the play again.
Well, as Ferguson did early in the first half, Kofor takes off, runs for a nice gain to the outside. That's one of the problems when you get a pass rush that collapses too much to the inside. Once that quarterback breaks the pocket, he's got a long way to run before someone can catch up with him. You know, the Raiders are really being guilty of hurting themselves. They're leading in the game 17-3, but they should be way out in front. They're the Giants in the third quarter over Philadelphia, 16-0.
Ali Haji Sheikh with 3 field goals for the Giants, who came into the game at 2-8-1. First and 10 Bills. Kofor sets up quickly. Loops the ball downfield. Tony Hunter, his tight end, had it and couldn't hold it. Bills have started to double team Lyle Alzado to try to hold him out. Watch.
There he is, number 77 in the middle of your screen, and that's 72 Ken Jones, who's blocking from the outside, and he gets some help from the inside. Number 51 Jim Richter. They do a good job.
That time.
Right, that time.
Alzado's been a force all game long, though, and now it is second down and 10 for the Bills. Kofor working with the wind at his back.
Comes a blitz.
Turned around, and there's a free ball. Kofor has it again. There's a man open, Julius Dawkins, but he can't get to the ball. So the Bills go into the bag of tricks. Maybe that's what they were doing with their closed practices. And there's a penalty marker down on the field. It was interesting, but in the end, it was nothing.
The problem with the play is that the Raiders had a blitz on. You know, as soon as the blitz came in, it fouled all of the action up. Then it just looked like a sandlot play. From the right side of your screen, we may be able to see it, but the Raiders are coming in with a blitz. You see Cribbs is looking for a handoff. Can't get it to Byron Franklin because one of the Raiders that come in, now it looks like, well, you go long.
Now, I think he just got a bobbled ball. You think he intended to throw it back to him?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was intended. That was the flea flicker. Fake the reverse, throw it back to the quarterback, and hit the wide receiver downfield. But the problem is the Raiders' defense fouled things up by coming with a blitz from the outside.
Even if it went, it would have come back because there was a holding call signaled against the Bills. St. Louis Cardinals are laying something on the Chargers that's not to be believed, leading 44-7. Now they move the ball out to the 45-yard line. It's
Number 36, defense, automatic first down.
Mike Davis called for holding. Lester Hayes. And so it's another 5-yard assessment against the Raiders and an automatic first down for Buffalo as the ball is out to the Bills' 45-yard line. 1:21 to go in the third quarter. Bill Pickel, number 71, a rookie from Rutgers, who's been a good player for the Raiders in his first year. Might have left early.
Watch in the middle of your screen, number 71 White. That's Bill Pickel. Jumps over and he touches Will Grant on the shoulders. That's 5 yards.
Cleveland Browns continue to lead the favored Patriots 23-0. Bills with a 1st and 5. They can take these 5-yarders all day and march down the field. That's in the best part of their offense, the Raider penalties. Bills go right up the middle, and the run by Roosevelt Leaks comes to an abrupt halt 2 yards upfield. Pickel was on the stop along with Bob Nelson.
You know, Don, sometimes when a team gets a series of penalties, you know, they can start thinking about what's happened so much that they don't play the next down. They lose their poise. But this is one of the things that the Raiders have prided themselves in over the years, is to maintain their poise. And for them on defense in this situation, it's really key. Forget about what happened and play the next down.
I believe the 2 years that they won Super Bowls, they were the most penalized team in the league, the Raiders, because they're so aggressive. Now it's second down and about 3. Joe Cribbs was caught and run down by linebacker Jack Squirick. Big play from a second-year backer from Illinois.
he can really run. You know, a lot of people on the Raider organization compare him to Jack Lambert, and watch him. Number 58, he just shoots right through there, grabs Cribbs from behind, holds on to the jersey, pulls him down.
So far today, Cribbs has had little fortune running the ball. He's carried it 7 times for just 11 yards. Averaging 75 yards a game running. He was targeted for a 1,200-yard season if he kept it up, but today the Raiders have shut him down. That's the end of the third quarter. LA 17, Buffalo 3 will be back after these messages from your local station. At Buffalo, Don Criqui with Gene Washington. We're ready to open the fourth quarter. The Raiders lead the Bills 17-3. The Bills have 3rd and 8 coming from their 46-yard line. And Lyle Alzado got an early jump.
I think that's going to be on Ken Jones, though. I think Ken raised his hand a little too soon. See, Lyle is an experienced player. He knows as soon as that offensive guy raises his hand, go across the line. Well, we don't see Ken Jones on the outside, but he lifted his hand up as soon as Lyle saw it. He came across.
It's almost the bull in the matador there. Hoefler stood in. He knew he couldn't hit him. The whistles were blowing, or he knew he shouldn't hit him. Now the ball is set back to the 42-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 13 for the Bills. To compound Buffalo's problems as we open the fourth quarter, Hoefler and the offense will be walking into the wind. Two wide receivers to either side for Buffalo on 3rd and 13. Down goes Hoefler back at the 29-yard line. Greg Townsend, a rookie from Texas Christian, number 93. And Bill Pickel come pouring through, 71.
Number 93, Greg Townsend, who's very explosive off the ball. Comes in right in the middle. He's just pushing people away. There he is, number 93. He and Bill Pickel, they combine for the sack. You know, there's several young Raider players, Townsend, McElroy, Caldwell, and they're all Raider types. All of them love to hit. They just love to hit people. That's the kind of football players the Raiders love to have.
Now Peter has a problem with his punt. Off the side of his foot, it's going to roll dead at the 46-yard line. It's got to be a rookie picking up a punt and running it. Gary Thompson, a rookie from the Bills, tried to run with his own punt. It'll be the Raiders' ball when we come back. The Raiders with a domination board and in the offensive stats, leading the game 17-3. They have the ball 1st down and 10 now, just across their 45-yard line do the Raiders. Very important score at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Minnesota Vikings leading the favored Steelers 17-7. The Vikings perhaps on the way to a major upset that would help the Raiders measurably. As the Raiders go to a run on 1st down. Right now, Pittsburgh has the home field in the American Conference with a 9-2 mark coming in. The Raiders, they had to play at Pittsburgh. It would be a tough ball game and conceivably could be that in the playoffs, the championship game in the American Conference. The Bears doing well with Walter Payton running the ball, leading Tampa Bay 20-0 in the fourth quarter. Payton scored 2 touchdowns in that game and has passed O.J. Simpson, and Walter is now 3rd all-time in rushing behind Jim Brown and Franco Harris. 2nd down and 6 coming up for the Raiders, and Jim Plunkett. Frank Hawkins makes a great reception, stabs at the ball, and somehow comes up with it and gets ahead, and there's a penalty marker down.
There was a little confusion on that play. The Raiders had both of their running backs coming across the middle. Well, there's the indication it's going to be holding against the Bills. But watch this play. You're going to have 2 halfbacks crossing across the middle. Plunkett almost stumbles. Hawkins comes up with it. But look, Marcus Allen is right there, and he thought it was thrown to him.
Number 29, defense.
Hawkins does a good job of holding on the ball. He almost lost it.
They've been striking hard from the opening kickoff. Raiders, the last time they were here, took a bad beating in 80, losing 24-7. They've never won at Buffalo in the new stadium. And over the years, the Bills are virtually the only team in the American Conference that has played the Raiders even. They've split 22 previous games. First and 10 Raiders, and Marcus Allen is hit at the line of scrimmage and does well just to get back to where the scrimmage started. Now we'll switch to NFL 83 in New York.
Thank you, Don Criqui. The beat goes on in Foxborough. Mike Pruitt for the Browns, up the middle, 6 yards. It's now 30-0 Cleveland, damaging to New England's playoffs hopes. Let's go back to you, Don.
Thank you, Len Berman. That was a very interesting development. The Patriots are decided favorite on their home field, and the Browns now hammering at them. The Browns could end the day just 2 games behind Pittsburgh. Steelers are losing. Plunkett gets time, cocks and throws. He's got Christensen, and he's inside the 25. Not done till he gets to the 19-yard line. Plunkett had a problem, got away from it with a quick step, and then the strong arm. He delivered a strike to number 46, and it'll be first and 10 Raiders.
Well, Christensen was covered when Plunkett first looked at him. He went away, then he came back. Look, he just throws it right in there. And sometimes when you're, top receiver, you just have to be double coverage. Look, a lot of pressure off the line, looking for the spot there, nothing there. Safety coming up, trying to protect. That's number 21, Michael Kennedy. But Plunkett throws it in anyway, and Christensen legs it out.
27-yard gain. Now, the run is going to be a knockdown at the 18-yard line, and Marcus Allen got only to Kenny King to the line of scrimmage, so it's going to be second down and 10 for the Raiders with 12 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Raiders in the late 17-3.
Frank Hawkins has just checked in for the Raiders.
Joe Ferguson, the Buffalo quarterback, has been on the sideline since the second quarter when he was KO'd on a sack by 2 Raiders. He was sandwiched. Jim Plunkett has gone all the way. He came in as a starter last week after Mark Wilson was hurt. Marcus Allen runs with the ball. He's fumbled 3 times today, and twice the Bills have recovered, but this time Allen takes it down on a 2nd and 9 play to the 15-yard line.
You can bet that the Bills are going to be going for the football, particularly when Marcus has it. They'll start trying to tackle the football, and he's going to have to be very careful, and when he gets into that line, he's going to have to put both hands on it.
Marcus Allen, who scored 14 touchdowns as a rookie in the strike-shortened NFL season a year ago, once rushed for 2,300 yards in a single season as a collegiate.
Oh, that should be a personal foul.
Raiders won't
That's going to start.
that.
Oh. Eugene Marv just came in and decked Plunkett, and his teammates are not going to take it. I'll tell you what, when they clear the pile, it should be a personal foul against Marv.
Mickey Marvin coming off. Eugene Marv has to have a full case of strong, though. He picked up Mickey Marvin, who weighs about 280, and threw him.
Well, if things weren't...
But there's no question
If
there's going
things
to be a
weren't bad
personal foul
enough.
call.
Defense, disqualification. Personal foul. Number 65.
The red card is the...
Watch.
Oh, Raiders.
He knew that he'd gotten over it before. He knew that he'd gone across the line before the ball was snapped, but nonetheless, he went ahead and hit Plunkett unnecessarily.
So Eugene Marv is gone for the day, the Bills' best inside backer. A personal foul and ejection from referee McElwee. Not leaving now. He will.
Well, he is now.
So Joey Lumpkin comes in. Bills lost their quarterback when he was hit hard by the Raiders, but it was a perfectly clean play. That surely was not.
You know, the Raiders don't have that reputation they have for nothing. Look at that. Look at Marcus Allen is in on it.
This is some throw, though. He's a big guy. Eugene Marv came on a blitz before the snap, and he took a clean pop at Jim Plunkett. Walked away for the moment. So the Raiders will get yardage on the personal foul against the Bills, and they'll be down close again. The Raiders leading 17-3 with 11:03 left to play in the game. Mickey Marvin, I guess, also was ejected. So he's gone. Mickey Marvin, the big man in the back without the helmet. 7th year from Tennessee. Retaliating for the blow struck at his quarterback, and now the Raiders will have the ball at the 15-yard line of the Bills. Apparently it's going to be 3rd down. There'll be offsetting personal fouls. 11 minutes and 3 seconds left to go in the game. The Raiders in command, looking to open up a 9-3 record on the season. They'll be buoyed by the news that the Steelers are losing 17-7. Those two teams, the Raiders and the Steelers, contending for the best record in the AFC. And the subsequent home field advantage in the playoffs. Here's Plunkett on the run. Wide open is Todd Christensen. It's a touchdown for the Raiders. So Plunkett, time and again in this game, when he's had a scramble when the pressure's been on, has spotted the man and drilled it.
Todd Christensen made a nice catch in the end zone. He was all alone, but Jim Plunkett made the play. He was rolling out to his right. He was looking for Christensen, but Christensen was covered. He put a lot of pressure on the defender. The defender decided to come up to take Plunkett. And watch, he's going to get out to the outside. Now he has the pressure on the defender. The defender had to make a decision. Jim runs, pulls up. Now Christensen is all alone in the end zone. 6 points.
Jim Plunkett's undergone surgery, knee and shoulder and arm, 7 times in his career, but he is looking as good or better than he ever has. Running, throwing, Barr with the extra point. And with 10:55 to play in the game, the Raiders now open up a 24-3 lead. The Raiders kick it off, and we come back to Buffalo.
Something they've done, for many games. The thing that really impresses me, though, is Jim Plunkett. I called him the Phoenix before. He just keeps coming back, keeps working downfield, always looking for a receiver, not afraid to run, not afraid to take a blow. And I tell you, he's always been a winner in my book, and today's no exception.
He's had a terrific day and a very important win for the Raiders as the Barr kickoff with the win goes out of the end zone. The Steelers are losing, and the Raiders could be tied with Pittsburgh for the best record in the American Conference at day's end. They'd both be 9-3 the way things are developing now. Some real blowouts going on. Miami is burying Baltimore. It's 37-0 in the 4th quarter. The underdog Browns having a great day at Foxborough. And of course, this is a doubleheader day on NBC. Most of you will be seeing Kansas City goes against the Cowboys at Irving, Texas. Other parts of the country, Seattle and Denver, the two teams tied for second in the AFC West. They'll be meeting at Mile High Stadium in Denver. It's 1st and 10 for the Bills at their 20-yard line. Penalty markers down as Kaufler moves downfield and gets ahead for a 9-yard gain, but it looks like there could be a hold against the Bills, and there is.
There it is. Howie Long, I think, is the man who drew that holding call. He just flew in there, forced the quarterback out of the pocket. This is such a tough situation for the Bills to be in now, particularly with a young quarterback.
Number 61, offense, 1st down.
Now that's Tom Lynch. Guilty man. In this situation where you have to throw the ball, young quarterback, young receivers too. Byron Franklin playing for Frank Lewis, who's injured. Julius Dawkins on the other side. It's a tough task.
Probably an insurmountable one with 10:43 left to play and the Raiders in the lead 24-3, but Buffalo is going to be pitching with a 1st and 20 coming up. Raiders love this position. Tee off and come. There's a great throw and a 1st down to Tony Hunter. His first catch of the day is good for a gain of 24 yards. So the number 1 draft choice for Notre Dame, Tony Hunter, gets the ball over the middle, and the Bills get out of trouble for the moment.
Tony Hunter has been compared to Kellen Winslow because he has the speed and size to operate both as a tight end and a wide receiver. We're going to see him catch the ball down in the middle of the field. The Raiders are playing zone defense. They throw it underneath. That's Van McElroy, number 26, who makes the tackle. But Tony Hunter can really fly for a big man.
6'4", 235, and he does have the deep speed. It's 1st and 10 Bills. Here's Kofor standing in. The rush comes. He eludes it. Takes a look. Throws on the run. The ball is caught. And there's a penalty marker down. Byron Franklin hangs on at the 48-yard line, and there's a penalty marker in. I don't think it's going to be against Byron Franklin.
It may be a personal foul. One of the Raider defenders, let's watch on the right side of your screen, is number 85, Byron Franklin. Now let's watch. You're going to see a Raider defender come in and try to bat the ball away, but I think the official may call a personal foul. Watch, right, trying to knock the ball away, but he's got Franklin right in the face mask. There's a flag.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 22 defense. First down.
Mike Haynes. He didn't commit many fouls.
Well, Mike was trying to knock the football away. He was trying to bat it down. I think the official just saw the arm coming across. And anytime you get an arm or an elbow up near a player's face, you know, they're going to go right away for a personal foul.
What an acquisition he is for the Raiders. 7 previous years in the league at New England. 7 years Pro Bowl performer. First and 10 Bills. They keep moving down the field. Here's a throw and a strike down to the 23-yard line. Julius Dawkins goes down and turns back at the ball, and the throw is perfect by the quarterback, Matt Koeffler, who's really starting to heat up now.
Well, one of the reasons he's being successful now is that the Raiders have chose to play a zone defense instead of the man-to-man they play a lot. They're doing that because they have such a big lead. They don't want anybody to throw the ball over their heads and get a quick score. They're going to be content to let Buffalo try to throw the ball in front of the linebackers or in the seams.
Raiders have a 24-3 lead. Koeffler with some interesting numbers. Had those 2 interceptions. You remember early when he threw deep and the Raiders were waiting. On first and 10, a pump fake and into the end zone. Hunter's open. Touchdown Buffalo. And a touchdown, Koeffler to Tony Hunter.
Well, the Bills caught the Raiders in a man-to-man. They shifted from their zone defense, went to man-to-man, and he's going to beat number 26, Van McElroy. And we talked about the speed that he has for a tight end, and you can see he really outdistanced him by about 5 yards, no one around.
And now Joe Dinello will try the point after, so there's still 8:54 to play. It's 24-9. Bills looking for their 10th point of the day. No problem with that, but they've still got a lot of ground to make up. They'll be kicking it off, will the Bills, when we come back. The wind continues to blow, and the Raiders continue to lead, but by less. Bills kick it off, a chip shot down. They're trying to kick it away. Rolling down and rolling out, and it'll come back, and they'll try it from the 30. 8:49 left to play, a long way to go, and Koeffler on that last drive throwing the ball so well did it, Gene, into the wind, although the wind has died down for the moment.
Well, as you mentioned, he has a very strong arm, and of course, you know, they practice back here, so the quarterbacks get accustomed to this type of weather. But he had a nice target to throw to, Tony Hunter, just legging it out to the corner of the end zone. Beautiful reception for 6.
Joe Dinello and Miller McCalman, the special teams coach, trying to kick it away from the return. They have a lot of speed back there. Last drive, 80 yards in just 4 plays for the Bills, with the payoff Koeffler to Hunter from 23 yards out.
Well, the Raiders are concerned about an onside attempt, and they've brought most of their people up close just to make sure that if the Bills try an onside kick, that they're going to have a very good chance to recover. So, as a matter of fact, they only have 1 guy deep, and that's Cleve Montgomery.
He's standing back at the 20. He's just going to hammer this straight away. Cleve Montgomery touched the ball. It's a muff, though. If it goes into the end zone, he can down it. It'll come out as a touchback. It's not a fumble ball. The fans think it is. So it'll come out to the 20 for the Raiders, and they'll go first and 10 from there. With 8:41 to play, and the Raiders in the lead 24-10. I think it was a fumble.
Well, as you pointed out, Don,
they paid their money. They can think what they want.
If the receiver doesn't have possession of the football and it goes into the end zone, it's just a touchback, not a safety. He must have control of it, then lose it, for the other team to gain possession, or for it to be a Safety.
We apologize to those of you who are inadvertently switched away from the game. Switching error and telephone company switching center. We're back at Buffalo. Don Criqui with Gene Washington. Raiders have the ball in a 24-10 lead in the fourth quarter. Frank Hawkins, who scored the game's first touchdown, runs it on first down, but not for very much.
Penalty flags down. There's another fight.
These guys came out of the locker room swinging today. Been a rough one. The Bills had closed practice sessions during the week. The specter of a spy from the Raider camp.
I love that intrigue, right?
Personal foul. Number 53 defense. Disqualified. Personal foul. Number 28 offense. Disqualified.
Well, you see Chris Keating going
Run
off
out
the
of
field.
guys here, Gene. There's the second Bill linebacker thrown out. Clay Montgomery won't play again. Bills came out short on that exchange. They lost one of their best backers in Clay Montgomery, a spot player. A Maine black pair, Chris Keating. Gone for the day, as his teammate Eugene Marv.
Well, not only is the fighting going on down on the field, the fans here are getting after it a little bit too. You can see Tom Flores. He's asking the official, what's going on? What's the problem? Well, he's going to go across the field, talk to Kay Stevenson.
For those of you who may have missed the last Raider touchdown because of the Buffalo touchdown because of the switching error, here it is again. Matt Kofor completes a 4-play drive with this 23-yard toss to rookie Tony Hunter. Wide open on an out pattern and into the end zone for the Bills' second touchdown of the day. Or their first touchdown of the day, their second score. They had a field goal and now their first score coming in the fourth quarter.
Number 46 offense. First down.
Now they've called the penalty against Todd Christensen, the Raiders' tight end.
Before that, they had offsetting personal fouls. Clay Montgomery and Chris Keating were ejected. 4 players have been thrown out of the game. Mickey Marvin, Chris Keating, Eugene Marv, and Clay Montgomery. Raiders now with a 1st and 20 coming up. A lot of time left, 8:33. Plunkett, home run ball. There's some speed going for that one, and the Bills break it up. Charles Romes goes for the ball and knocks it down. Dokie Williams, the rookie from UCLA, world class in track and field as a collegiate. He was a triple jumper and a great sprinter.
Dokie can fly, but Charles Romes can also run. The problem on that play was that Plunkett threw the ball up there. He had a lot of distance on it, but the wind got a hold of it. And you could see that both fellows were slowing down a bit, waiting for the ball to come down. As I mentioned before, with this wind picking up, having to throw the ball can be a real problem. It's going to be more of a problem, though, for the Bills because they're trailing here 24-10. And they have to keep the ball in the air.
Raiders with the win at their back, but the Bills moved the ball the best since Kofor's been in, going into the win their last drive. Ball is positioned back at the 12-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 20 for the Raiders, who lead the game 24-10. They had a 10-3 lead at halftime, extended that to 24-3. Now it's 24-10 Los Angeles, and the Steelers are losing.
There's Willie Brown on the right there talking with head coach Tom Flores. Willie's one of the fellows who's under nomination for the Hall of Fame coming up.
Great player. Willie Brown, to his right, free agent who was all-pro like 12 years.
And I had to play against him for about 9. One of the best defensive backs, probably the best defensive back I've played against in my career. He could play bump and run. As big as he is, he could play bump and run as well as anyone.
And he could catch the ball with one hand to intercept. He has fantastic hands. A terrific guy in addition. Well deserving of a Hall of Fame spot if he gets one. And now Marcus Allen gets stopped at the 10-yard line. The Bills heat up. They're not cashing in on this one with 8:15 left to play. 3rd down and 20 comes up. The Raiders huddling at their leisure. They want to run as much clock as they can. Game clock down to 8:08 to play.
These fans are so fired up. You know, when you're down on the field and the fans get yelling and excited, you actually feel it. I mean, it can really give you a boost. The fans know it, and they're trying to get their troops stirred up here. If they can prevent the Raiders from getting a first down, they're going to have the football in good field position.
Jim Plunkett, 3rd and 20. He's got Marcus Allen, and he's down at the 16-yard line, so the Raiders have to punt with 7:39 left to play in the game.
Back down the field.
Penalty marker down. They're going to have a call signaled against the Raiders.
Holding, number 46, offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
The Bills decline the penalty because they want to get that ball back. Watch the left side of your screen. That's 46. Oh, Todd Christensen. Oh, Urban Parker. Look what he did. Whew. How did the officials miss that one? Well, these guys are playing some serious
We got
football.
some football to play, too, here, Gene. 7:39 left to play. Bills down by 2 touchdowns, but they move right through the Raiders, their last possession to score, and they're going to get the ball back now. Ray Guy inside his 5-yard line. Can you get the Bills coming early? They're not going to. They just want to run clock off. There's the snap. Oh, they get him. They knock him down inside the 10. The big rush, and Guy was unable to punt. Darryl Talley, an All-American linebacker of West Virginia last year, was the guy who broke through number 56 and forced Ray Guy to run. We're not done yet in Buffalo. Don't go away. Like a playoff game, the way this crowd has risen up. Oh. Raiders are worried with reason. Watch Darryl Talley, 56.
You're going to see Ray Guy. That's number 24, Gary Thompson, coming in from the left. Ray Guy knew if he punted that ball, it was going to be blocked. So he was much better off not taking a chance. Watch. He knows it's going to be blocked. There's number 24.
Gary Thompson, number 24, not Darryl Talley.
He wisely decided to hold on to the football. If he tried to punt it, got it blocked into the end zone, it would have been a touchdown.
It was Gary Thompson who came through and forced Ray Guy to run. And now the Bills have the ball, 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Leaks takes it ahead, and he goes down inside the 5. It's the 2nd and goal from there. The Bills will be right back in this with a lot left if they can get it in. This is a tough group to move on, though, the Raider defense. Howie Long and Lyle Alzado. The defensive ends converge to make the tackle.
Well, the Bills have their very dangerous weapon in Joe Cribbs in the game, and they love to throw the football to him when they get down close.
Is wide left. Byron Franklin goes on the right flank. Line is he in? Third and goal. He didn't get in, but the nose of the ball is almost touching the line.
Kofor wanted to get the football to Joe Cribbs, but the Raiders did a good job of holding him up. He had no place to go, but he wisely took off up the middle, sees the goal line, goes for it. Look at him, trying to break that plane with a football. But Mike Davis, he says, nope, give it to me, I'll take it.
Great second look from the sideline, and that crowd, 70,000 plus, stands. The roar starts. It's 3rd and goal from inches out. Big breakup by the Raiders. Van McElroy, 26, the free safety, slapped the ball down, so the Raiders now force the Bills into 4th down. Bills have to go for it.
All in that situation. Number 20, Joe Cribbs, you can see him he's on the right side of your screen. He's going to come in from the right, trying to get the ball to him, but Van McElroy comes in and makes a tip and knocks the football away.
Bills want a minute or so to talk this over. The biggest play of their game so far coming up, 4th and goal from inches away. We'll be back after this game here at Buffalo. And goal coming up. The Bills break the huddle. We welcome those of you who just joined us. Don Criqui with Gene Washington. Buffalo 4th and goal from inches out against the Los Angeles Raiders. Krebs is over the top. It's a touchdown, and Buffalo's back in the game. The Bills were out of it, down 24-3. Joe Krebs over the top for Buffalo's second touchdown, and now if they can get the extra point, they'll be down by 7.
But it took a tremendous effort, that leap. He goes up really high, breaks the plane for the 6 points. And I tell you, Matt Kofler has brought this team back. Of course, they really set things up. When Ray Guy wasn't able to get off that punt, they tackled him down on about the 15-yard line or so. And now they're going to come within 7.
Raiders coming over the top. It'll be a 24-17 game. A most important extra point coming up if Dinello can hit it. Matt Kofler has now completed 7 of 12 passes for 98 yards in the touchdown to
Encroachment,
Tony Hunter.
number 55 defense. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
The reason they assess it on the kickoff because it really doesn't help the kicking team to have the ball moved half the distance to the goal line. In fact, it'd make it harder. You want to stay a little bit back, so the assessment will come on Millen's offside when the Bills kick off. They'll be kicking off from their 40-yard line rather than the 35. Dinello, though, has to hit the extra point. He does. We got something going at Buffalo. 5:54 to play, and the Bills are back in the game 24-17 after losing their quarterback, Joe Ferguson, when he was knocked out in the second quarter. A long way to go, and the Bills will kick it off when we come back. Games.
Joe Krebs goes up and over behind the good blocking of the center, number 53, Will Grant, and number 51, Jim Richer. Only the 3rd rushing touchdown for them all year. When they get down there, they love to throw it. They try to do it a few times, try to get it to Krebs from about 1 yard out. And it took a great play from Van McElroy to stop that one. They kept it on the ground for 6.
The big development has been the play of the Buffalo defense, though. They stuffed the Raiders their last 2 possessions. The Raiders couldn't even get off a punt the last time. Ray Guy had to try to run, and he was down. The Bills subsequently went in. Now it's a 24-17 game with 5:54 to play. Fumble ball, and Pruitt fumbles it. Free football. I think Buffalo has it. To get the official signal, but this is an unbelievable turnabout. I'll tell you, there's some fighting going on down there, Gene, over that football.
When the ball gets lost down there, the officials come up and give it to the Bills.
Tom Flores stunned, as are the Raiders, as the Bills have mounted one of maybe the greatest comeback in the history of this franchise. Sanford came up with the ball. Now they're going to give credit to the fumble recovery.
Derek Jensen had the first shot at it. Then Greg Pruitt tried to get it. He couldn't hold it.
Darryl Caldwell, a backup tackle, is the man who came up with the free ball. He was in on special teams coverage, and Darryl Caldwell has his biggest play as a Buffalo Bill. The Bills now trailing 24-17, have the ball inside the 25-yard line of the Raiders.
There you can see number 31. That's Derek Jensen had the first shot. Then Greg Pruitt mishandled it.
Buffalo trailing by 7, 1st and 10, and the Raiders stuff the run. Hendricks, 83, makes the stop. Big play for Los Angeles as Joe Krebs is stopped. Last time he had the ball, he was in the end zone.
You can see Joe is balling out a few people there. His lineman, he said, hey, give me a chance. He got the football, and Hendricks met him right in the back.
Buffalo will be the only New York State team after this year when the Jets move to New Jersey along with the Giants next season. Right now, they've got them revved up here in Buffalo as second down and 11 comes up. Second and 12 from the 25. Kofler with a problem. Throws, he gets Joe Cribbs, and he's inside the 25-yard line. Very little gain, though. National Football League rules require that we present away games starting with the opening kickoff to stations in the team's home area. So viewers in Seattle and Kansas City will be leaving this game in a few minutes for a telecast involving your home team. However, we'll continue to bring you reports on this game to keep you up to date. And of course, this is a doubleheader day on NBC. The game most of you will be seeing will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys from Texas. In other parts of the country, it'll be Seattle and Denver meeting at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Right now, a big down for the Bills, who trail by 7. Third and 11. Matt Kofler from the shotgun. They're trying to isolate Cribbs on a linebacker. Penalty marker, though, before the snap. Cribbs is running an end zone pattern against Jeff Barnes. He had the linebacker on him. That's how they beat the Jets last week.
I think this is going to be a motion penalty against the Bills.
Number 73
there it is.
offense.
That's a right guard, John Borchert, going from his up stance. He started a little too soon. Head coach Kay Stevenson with the Bills baseball cap on in the middle.
Ball start, number 73 offense. Third down.
Big down now coming up for the Bills as they have it third down and 16 from their 28-yard line of the Raiders. Buffalo trailing 24-7. A lot of speed on the flanks, ready to run deep.
Cribbs is going to throw it.
Throws to Kofler and didn't work. So the Raider defense comes up with 3 downs of successful football now, and the Bills have 4th down and 16 coming up.
Well,
4:47 to play.
I think too many teams have seen this play where they hand it off to the halfback, then he's going to throw the ball to the quarterback. But Kofler hesitated a little too long. He didn't get out there. Cribbs is running around trying to find him. Too late now. The defense sees the play. No chance.
Bills down to 1 timeout as Kofler has to get counsel now with a 4th down coming up in this all-important drive. 4th and 16, so the Bills have to get a first down. 4:47 left to play. And Buffalo rallying from a 24-3 deficit in this game. They were down 24-3 in the second half, then quickly rallied back with some great defensive play. And Kofler, the young quarterback who came in when Joe Ferguson went down in the second quarter, started to throw strikes even into the wind in the 4th quarter. Those of you in the Miami area expecting to see Kansas City playing the Cowboys, please stay with us. At the end of this game, we'll switch you there. An NBC doubleheader day. Right now, the Raiders in white, waiting for the Bills to go back into play as Matt Kofler's on the sidelines. What play do you go to here, Gene?
Well, usually in this situation, the Raiders are going to be in their nickel defense with 5 defensive backs. They might even have 6. The area of the field that's usually more open is across the middle. But don't forget they have Joe Cribbs out there. They might try to get him down the sideline. The Raiders will be looking for that. But I'd sure like to see Tony Hunter coming across the middle. He's a big target. They don't have Hunter, number 81. Perry Tuttle is in the ball game. They're going for speed.
They've got all speed. 5 wide receivers are in. 4th and 16 for the Bills, who need this play. There's a throw. A man is open. It's touchdown Buffalo. Tuttle. And the good times have started to roll here in Buffalo.
Perry Tuttle, a #1 draft choice out of Clemson in his second year. Much maligned because he dropped too many passes. He doesn't drop this one, but Lester Hayes is in good position, and Lester goes for the interception. Watch. Lester is there. He goes for the interception instead of trying to defend the guy. Comes up short. Tuttle watches the ball all the way into his hands for 6 points.
Former #1 draft choice from Clemson, his first touchdown catch. The extra point by Danilo is good, and so with 4:41 to play, the Bills have tied the game. An absolutely astounding fourth quarter comeback. They were out of the game. People were pouring through the exits they were leaving. Now they've all come back in.
Your #1 quarterback is out. You lose 2 players to personal penalties. They come back and tied it up. Let's watch again. Perry Tuttle going to the corner of the end zone. Lester Hayes is in good shape, but he goes for the interception. Comes up short, can't quite reach it. And the result is a touchdown. Watch Lester Hayes here. He's in good position. Can't jump high enough. Touchdown.
3 touchdowns in the space of 5 minutes in the fourth quarter against the powerful Raiders, and the Bills have come back from nowhere, down 24-3, and they've tied the game. Matt Koffler coming off the bench, really starting to throw strikes, and the Bills have been working the whole fourth quarter into the wind.
Take a look. Buffalo, fourth quarter, 21 points. The Raiders only 7.
Raiders had a commanding 24-3 lead in the fourth quarter before the Bills came back. Second half lead of the Raiders down now, and we're all dead even. It's a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Kansas City playing the Cowboys at Irving, Texas. Seattle at Denver. We got a long way to go in Buffalo as Danilo puts a rocket shot into the ball. Doki Williams, he caught it inbounds. He's got to come back. And he is buried at the 16-yard line. Actually a space, Gene, of 6 minutes and 10 seconds in the fourth quarter where the Bills scored 21 points. Both teams have had 2 players ejected for fighting. There's been more flags than you can count.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, 56 defense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness.
So it's a push, nothing happens. I call it.
Fouls after the play.
Well, there's number 56. That's Darryl Talley. He was one of the guilty parties.
But Taylor's made some big plays. He was one of the guys that busted through on that punt, and then Gary Thompson came from the other side and forced Ray Guy to run. And then the Bills subsequently went in for a touchdown. And then another score with the throw to Tuttle a moment ago. It's a 24-24 game.
Well, if the Raiders ever needed poise, they do right now. They've got 80,000 people against them.
Pride and poise, the motto of the Los Angeles Raiders. Plunkett drops to throw. He looks, he throws. It's intercepted. No, it's caught by Todd Christensen. A great catch by Christensen. A Bill linebacker had a play on the ball, and Christensen comes up with the reception as he is now out to the 24-yard line. But the Raiders a long way from the scoring area. They do, we must remember, have the wind at their back.
Well, when you're in trouble, you go to the guy who's expected to come up with them, and for the Raiders, that's Todd Christensen. Plunkett finds him underneath the linebackers. He goes up high and makes a good catch. You know, this game is really set up, though, for a typical Raider finish. Just under 4 minutes to go, they can march the ball down. They've got plenty of time.
Frank Hawkins runs it at the outset of the game. You heard Jim Plunkett, the Raider quarterback, talk about as a boy growing up in San Jose, how over the years he watched all those great Raider quarterbacks and their come-from-behind wins. They engineered LaMonica, Blanda, and Stabler, and he said when you get to play for the Raiders, you're expected to do that. He's been doing it, did it last week with 58 seconds to play against Denver, and the Raiders behind methodically. Plunkett took the team down the field, and Barr kicked the winning field goal with 2 seconds to play. Now the game is tied, 24-all. Swing pass goes out to Hawkins, and Hawkins is out to the 34-yard line on a first down play. He's ahead for about 7 yards. So the Raiders start to open up and get some offense. They've been very dry for a long time now against this Buffalo defense.
Well, Buffalo decided to double cover both of the wide receivers on that play, and they're going to be conservative in their defensive concept. They don't want the Raiders to throw anything over their heads. So the man who might be the key in this situation when they're doubling outside is number 46, Todd Christensen, and that's who Plunkett loves to go to anyway.
He really does. The tight end Christensen, he's strong to the left. Up to the left side of the line of scrimmage for the run. Hard hit. Joey Lumpkin, who's come in for the ejected Chris Keating, makes the stop along with the strong safety, Michael Kennedy, 21. And you see the game clock winding down in the fourth quarter. 2:20 to play. Raiders 24, Bills 3, not that long ago. Now it's Raiders 24, Bills 24, as the Bills have scored 3 touchdowns in just over 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. Rain has started up and the wind is heavier.
There's a 2-minute warning.
Plunkett wisely waits for it, the official timeout. He goes over to the sideline to talk with Tom Flores. And now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Trail the Chargers by 6 with time for only one more play. Ken Stabler drops back. He's blitzed from the right. In what has become known as the Holy Roller, he fumbles the ball forward. It is miraculously bobbled and bounced into the end zone, where Dave Casper falls on it for a touchdown. The Raiders win 21-20 on the game's final play.
The recyclable aluminum
led 24-3 in the fourth quarter. The Bills will come back to tie the game. Now with 2 minutes to play. It's 3rd and 2 Raiders. Allen gets ahead. And we'll see if Marcus Allen got to the 39-yard line for the Raider first down. The clock is running. We could very well be going to OT in this one.
It's got to be very close. Marcus gets the ball. He's got 2 hands on it this time. Look, he stretches out, gets as much as he can.
It was a 3rd down carry, 3rd down and just over a yard, and they're going to bring out the sticks. A nervous moment for Coach Flores and the Raiders, certainly for the Bills with 1:50 left to play in the game. Got to get to the 39-yard line of the Raiders. The Raiders get 4 new downs, so they'll have it 1st and 10 at their 39-yard line with 1:50 to play. Kay Stevenson, the Buffalo coach, who has somehow infused this team with an attitude that they've kept coming back all season long. Devastating injuries, way behind last week, and they rallied to win, and they've not an even greater comeback today. Here's a throw and a perfect strike. Jim Plunkett looks for his ace, and the tight end Christensen is open, and Plunkett puts it right between the 4 and the 6.
The only way you can stop Todd Christensen in this situation is to hold him up at the line of scrimmage. The Bills did that early in the first half. They had one of the linebackers holding him up. It wouldn't allow him to get off clean. Now he's coming off clean, and he's finding the open seam.
What a football game. 1:10 to go. It's tied. The Raiders go to the run, and Marcus Allen crosses midfield and gets down to the 47-yard line of Buffalo. 1:04 left to play. Raiders kicker Chris Barr will have the wind at his back. The long and storied history of the Raiders over the years. In the last 15 years, they've played 19 one-point games, and they've won 15 of them.
Well, there's the man, Chris Barr, number 10, on the sideline, trying to get everything in order just in case he gets a chance to boot it through.
Barr said last week after he kicked the winner against Denver, people ask you to get nervous. He said you always get nervous no matter how long you do it. You just are able to control it better. A doubleheader day on NBC. The Cowboys and the Chiefs from Irving, Texas. Most of you will see that. Other parts of the country, Seattle and Denver, the 2 teams that trail the Raiders in the AFC West. Right now, we've got 1 minute and 4 seconds of regulation left to play, and maybe more at Orchard Park, New York, as the Bills and the Raiders are tied 24-24. If you joined us late, the Raiders had a 24-3 lead in the fourth quarter. Then the Buffalo Bills rose up. Their quarterback, Joe Ferguson, went out in the second quarter. His backup, a young guy from San Diego State, Matt Kofor, had problems. But then he got hot, and the Bills have tied the game. Now Plunkett, he's got an open man. And over the 40-yard line. The Raiders might have gotten it back.
I think the Raiders... No, wait a minute. One official is going to call that it was down. One official is going to say that Marcus was down before the ball popped loose.
If he didn't rule that, it would have been his 4th fumble of the day. He's lost 2, 1 in the end zone.
Malcolm Barnwell came up with the football anyway.
We'll watch again.
Now, if Marcus hits the ground with the football in his possession, the ball is dead. Let's watch. Oh, it's close. What happened was that Marcus shielded the official who called it from the right side. He really didn't have a good look at it.
The Raiders getting close to winning range now as the clock winds down to 50 seconds and running. Game tied, 24-24. Swing pass to Marcus Allen. He's got yards, and Allen's inside the 30. And the Raiders are now in field goal range. 39 seconds left to go. So the Plunkett-led offense of the Los Angeles Raiders takes it down the field as they did a week ago, after they had a 19-10 lead over Denver, and the Broncos came from behind to take a 20-19 lead.
9 yards on the play.
Chris Barr has hit 10 of his last 11 field goals, including the only one he's tried here today. His parents are here from State College, Pennsylvania, where his dad is the soccer coach at Penn State. His brother Matt Barr had a big day for the Cleveland Browns as they blasted the favored Patriots at Foxborough, Massachusetts. Plunkett and the Raiders getting set. The Raiders with critical turnovers. It's really been the cause of their only defeat so far this year.
Well, I'm sure their discussion on the sideline is, what should we do with the football? Should we just run the ball, run it right up the middle, just keep the ball in good position, give Barr a chance to boot it from there, or should they try to get it down a little closer? Trying to get it down a little closer might require them putting the ball in the air. Now, with what's happened to the Raiders up until this point, they've had some turnovers. Maybe they don't want to take a chance of putting the ball in the air and having someone fumble the ball or come up with a possible interception.
Second down, less than a yard. They'll be probably trying to get more yardage because Barr's not a long-range kicker. Very effective close. Marcus Allen runs, and he gets some more yards for the Raiders. He's inside the 25 and down to the 23. And he wisely takes it right between the hash marks to give as much range as he can, and the game clock continues to wind down. The Raiders getting set for a moment of truth in this one. Plunkett throws. Cliff Branch catches down at the 17-yard line. Now they're in good range for Chris Barr.
But there's a penalty flag down. Maybe offsides against the Bills.
Malcolm Barnwell signaling it's against Buffalo. And the official, who's the only one that counts, says the same thing, and so there'll be an assessment. But they got more on the play. They got more on the yardage. They gained about 7, it looked like. Here's the last play.
In this situation, the quarterback has the option of throwing the ball out of bounds if his receiver is not open. But Branch is open. Romes gives him a lot of room.
Yeah, they're going to decline the penalty. So the ball is now down to the 17-yard line. It would be a 34-yard field goal attempt from here. They drop back 7 to kick, and then, of course, the 10 yards into the end zone, and there's the man who's going to be called on for a second week in a row. Interesting story. He was with the Bengals. They cut him in 1980, went to the Raiders, a free agent, and got a Super Bowl ring. Power run. Hawkins gets nowhere as he's stuffed at the 18, and now the Raiders will let it wind down to about 4 seconds. Call for the timeout, and the football game will be on the line as the rain starts to fall hard here in Buffalo. The wind is blowing, a gusting wind, but it's predominantly at the backs of the kicking team, the Raiders here.
Do you think there isn't some pressure on Chris Barr? Oh.
And the additional problem, of course, the snap ball is going to get wet on the way back in the set down. If it's up and through, the Raiders will have their 9th victory of the season against 3 defeats. If it's not good, we go to overtime.
Let's not forget that the Bills earlier broke through on an attempted punt by the Raiders. So you can bet that they're going to have all of their guys coming trying to block this. Raiders going to have to be very careful that they give Chris Barr a chance to boot it.
Seconds to play. It all comes down to this field goal attempt by Chris Barr, who's hit 10 of his last 11, and he's been deadly in this range. The hold will be at the 26-yard line. It'll be a 36-yard field goal straight away.
And the wind is just blowing the goalpost all over the place.
Heavy wind and heavy rain, and no help from the Buffalo fans. It's on the way. It's good. The Raiders do it again. On the last play of the game, the Raiders hit a winning field goal, and now the Raiders on consecutive weeks have come from behind. Actually, they tied today and then won it on the bar field goal. Another day at the office for Tom Flores. Unbelievable. The Raider legend grows.
Watch Tom Flores up on the right-hand side of the screen. Watch his reaction.
Once again, the final score in the last play, Raiders 27, Bills 24. In a moment, we'll continue to review the action of today's game.